7 o'clock in St. Louis, you're listening to TMA. It's presented by Brown & Croup and 101 ESPN and the TMA STL YouTube channel. And Doug, DJ Patty Cakes, the Rich PP, John Scores, MD 2020, and the Bridgeton Landfill Fume Huffer were all waiting for us before the show even started on YouTube.
What are they doing in there?
Good morning. 69th, DJ Patty Cakes. Morning, boys. TGIF, fellas, Johnny Scores, who accurately has assessed that Jackson is keeping Larry Nickel off the air.
Why would he do that?
I don't know. You'll have to ask Jackson, but Jackson's a little flustered this morning because his headphones aren't working and he's just disappeared. He has just disappeared.
He had a panic attack. I was witnessing him, and I've done this when you're trying to undo.
You're watching on YouTube. You're rewarded right now.
Do you need headphones? Would these work?
It's the cabling, Doug.
I'm good.
They're like in a little knot.
We're good.
Okay.
Gosh, it was touch and go.
The little thing that protects your ear fell off my earbuds. Yeah, my shrub. And I had been untangling these headphones for the better part of 10 minutes before the program. And so not how you ideal start to a Friday, but we'll rock and roll.
You look like Doug Henning trying to escape like handcuffs or something.
Doug Henning's scheduled to join us, actually.
8
That'd be
o'clock.
awesome. We should get a magician on.
We had Kreskin back in the... Did we not? Remember the amazing Kreskin that would be on Letterman? And he wasn't really good at magic, and Letterman would kind of politely mock him. I believe he was a guest of the show.
Well, Doug, you're going to be handsomely rewarded today because Joey Vitale is on the Stiefel dossier.
Okay.
But in something that maybe also has Jackson nervous, a surprise guest is also at 8:30?
There was a little texting confusion between the alliance. We've clarified the surprise
This
guest.
alliance is over. Vince Carter gif.
The surprise guest will be at 8, and then we'll give him a little runway.
Doug, it's him.
And
is
then
that right?
Joey Vitale is at 8:30.
No. What? Did I put... my bad. No, Joey's at 10.
Oh, no.
Joey's at
Can't have
10.
it today.
Joey's at 10.
Joey's at 10.
Yeah.
Tim, why was I wrong?
Now
It changed.
Well,
The fluid dossier just changed. Now I can't prove it.
It did. I just see it.
So
That's a
I
living,
messed
breathing
up.
document like the
I
Constitution.
don't know how much it's living.
So I accidentally put 8:30 on that show open part of the dossier, but you'll see in 10-1 I have Joey Vitale at 10 o'clock.
Okay,
That's my bad.
I didn't want the guest on and then say, hey, we got to roll.
Right.
Joey's on hold.
Yeah.
So we had a little back and forth. Doug Henning died in 2000. I apologize.
Still will be with us, though, at 8:15. Surprise guest at 8. Right. Doug Henning, 8:15. Joey Vitale, 8:30 or 10 o'clock.
Got it.
Got it?
Got it. Okay, I'll try to keep it straight.
T-Wolves and Thunder breakdown for the 7 o'clock hour. That's kind of how things are shaping up on the Stiefel dossier.
Okay.
You're welcome to call in with your thoughts on it. 314-974-0101. Maybe the gentleman who is going to kind of give it to us, but then also try to figure out psychologically why he can't stop listening to the show. But then, unfortunately, dropped an F-bomb. And, Jackson, you say it's a one-strike and you're out policy on that?
It's tough.
I think it's the right play, though.
Because if he did it again, then that's on me. Fool me once type of thing.
You have to know
Was
when you
it
call
Dana,
in.
Doug? Caller Dana that was calling in?
No, Noah.
Noah. Oh, wow. Good recall.
Yeah, well, we hit an arc we just can't tolerate.
So good. Use that for drops of the week
You have
next
to
week.
know when you call on a radio station, you can't drop an F-bomb. How hard is that to realize?
Just slips out? My wife always asks, how do you not swear on the radio? I said, well, you just swear too much and all the time.
It's a good question, though. I am somehow able to not for the 4 hours, but I don't understand the how. So Kim has asked you that question as well.
It is amazing. And I've told you the only time I ever swore on the radio was with Rammer and Claves while doing a Dick Ford impression. And my defense was, well, that's how he talks. And they're, oh, really? So the newsman's a potty mouth. I'm like, well, okay, never mind. He wouldn't say that. I said that. Have you ever slipped up, Tim?
I'm sure the audience would remind me immediately.
Buck Swamp, what season was that?
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like considering Jackson and I yesterday on QFTA, and I don't know how it came down to it. Oh, that the show from our friends, DBA The Critics, have associated the show with adult film star interviews. And I said, we've now done 5,250 shows. We simply multiplied 21 years by 250 to give you your approximate number of shows. And I said, on the high side, I mean the highest of high sides, we've had 50 adult film star interviews out of 5,250 shows, but it's one of those things that some people are hypersensitive about because they're uncomfortable with what's below their belts. And so I said, it's one of those things. It's a narrative, but it's not necessarily accurate. But then you got 5,250 shows, a minimum of 3 hours for all those. It's 15,000 hours. And I don't think that I have. But like I said, I'm sure an audience member would handsomely be paid off with a nice reward if they could find the audio. But I don't think so, Doug. I'm virtually certain you haven't, but you don't really use profanity off air anyway.
No, I did on TV once.
You just dropped an F-bomb because you had enough of the
it wasn't
Cardinal
an
bullpen.
F-bomb.
Hey, Savard. I am not on vacation.
No. It was my first job in Rochester, Minnesota. I'd been on been on the job about a couple months, and I tried to report, looked right in the teleprompter and tried to say Lee Trevino was 6 shots off the pace, but shots wind up with a word that had an I in it instead of shot.
That's
it was an accidental, but it was clear as day.
Yeah, but that's an accidental one. That's a different deal than,
Yeah. Well, no, I've never.
Like in the midst of a take.
No.
Like the Blues power play. This effing power play, and like you really let people know you mean business.
In this takey world, how has that not happened more? Where some guy just gets all lathered up.
I don't know.
This power play, Shipabolo, Manitoba.
You're watching the NBC North Dakota News, your news leader in high definition.
Good evening, I'm Van Two.
See, it has happened. You just get bleak.
That gentleman, that was his very first newscast. Not the biggest market. I believe it was in North Dakota, and that usually has, Pierre is market 4?
No.
It's New York, L.A., Chicago, Pierre.
What's the biggest? Fargo would be the biggest market, right? Minot up there?
And take a listen again. Here you go.
Your news leader in high definition.
Good evening, I'm Van
3
Two.
words to pick right off the shut.
Did he survive?
No, he was gone. I don't know if he made it to the weather block.
Was he on camera, do we think? Or was
Yes, he
Yes, he was.
Oh, my
You
goodness.
thought they were still in the commercial before the news started.
But I got to tell you, even if you're in a commercial, like what's got you going there? I don't know. What's that guy's name? AJ something or another. And then, of course, Van 2 was his co-anchor.
AJ Clemente.
AJ Clemente. He's going to join us with Joey Vitale in the 10 o'clock. Maybe AJ Clemente is the surprise guest, or maybe it's Van 2. Doug.
Like to get him.
Town,
Very much like to get him.
A lot of times the guests are names you bring up on this show.
Oh, that's a hint.
And then I scribble the name and say, let's see if we can find this person. A.J. Clemente.
He'd probably love to keep discussing it. It wasn't the low point of his life or anything.
Yeah, what's the nature of the interview? Oh, just checking in.
Van 2 has not tweeted, but she is on the Twitter tweet. So, Martin, if you want to track her down, she is available.
Well, she was part of the incident, so I could get Van.
Yeah, Van 2.
I'm sorry. I thought you were I seriously thought you were referring to like a live van. Hey, we're going live at Busch Stadium. We're taking Van 2. I thought that's what you were saying.
Looks like Van is out of the industry, Doug, and for that, I'm sure you doff your cap.
You wouldn't have to work in small market TV in North Dakota very long without an advancement before you'd say, well, I'm going to try something else.
Good evening, I'm Van Two.
You're welcome to call into the program, but we ask, while we may off the air support the use of profanity and really do so vehemently, on the air, Jackson he'll have to just pop you.
Yeah.
If you go F-bombing or what else? Hell, I don't know. I don't know what the rule is specifically on other words, but the F word, I think the S word, you attach a whole to one word, it's a problem. You attach God to another word, it's a problem. Doug, it's a moving target, so we just err on the side of caution.
Well,
That's
why
what we
not?
do. That's
Why
what we do.
not?
And I think we're all hypocrites because we're telling you to clean it up. Yet we just admitted that's not how we function. The other night, 8th grade graduation.
Oh, you dropped an F-bomb at the speech.
I did not. But I know everybody has their phone out. And I was saying to myself, oh my God, we've all got to get video of little Johnny and little Susie. We all got to, and I was saying to myself, it's just too much.
You know what I'd love to see? A poll 10 years later of how many of those parents still have the video of that moment.
And how often do you use it? Is it necessary?
When was the last time you knocked the dust off of it?
But then I forgot, oh yeah, Carson's reading at Mass.
Got to get it.
Cousin John, couple seats over, Better Vantage Point says, I'm going to record. I said, okay, good job. And I was like, oh, thank God somebody's recording it. I'm like, I'm a hypocrite. Thought it was unnecessary. Then it's my kid. And I'm like, oh, yeah, we're going to need that video so I can share it with 3 or 4 people in my family chat.
You just feel like you have to video anything that's somewhat important going on.
In case he swears, Tim.
Were you there
in case the cards could go viral.
Yeah, and then he can be like AJ Clemente and Van 2.
Doug, were you ever like in the stands with like a camcorder taking video? You ever see that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And you feel somehow that when you're videoing it, nothing can happen to you. You're just like watching TV.
Right.
Like if it's a dangerous situation, it's not really going to affect you because you're just there to video it. They say that people are getting in trouble with tornadoes getting too close. Everybody wants to video
I saw
the
a lot
tornado.
of those on TikTok this week from like the CWE.
Yeah.
Instead of taking cover, they're out there on their back porch trying to get the video.
Yep. People were initially laughing as they were videoing.
I think we've seen the same video.
Oh, yeah. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh.
Something comes through their window.
And it happens in a real hurry, too.
Yeah, and then it's like, oh, my God, absolute panic and terror.
Are you taking questions, Jackson?
I am Jackson. You
Tim
usually
is okay.
will. Doug is not this morning.
No, not this morning.
Can I watch a TikTok video without being on TikTok? Because people send them to me, and
is that right?
I go to hit play, and they won't play because I'm not a TikTok user. Have you ever had that experience?
I think you can just like sign in with like your email. It'll give you some random username. You don't have to post anything. It doesn't even have to be your name. It'll say like user and then 80 numbers behind it. And then you can watch any TikTok you want.
But I still have to kind of register to some degree.
Yeah, I mean, just the slightest amount. I think it's just an email.
Mo on Twitter. Remember he said he used to monitor Twitter.
That's right. He had a burner.
So I'm going to sign into TikTok. This is not Mo. I'm going to sign into But I get TikTok videos sent to me. You guys are referencing videos, and I can't play them.
I love that TikTok. I used to think it was just like attention-seeking divorcees dancing.
Yes, we're the Real Housewives of
There it is again.
TNA.
They're not all divorced.
But man, I have fallen in love with TikTok. Very concerned when I thought it was going away, Doug. Yeah, I enjoy that.
I don't think it's ever going to go away. Just the ownership might change.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, because they don't like the fact that it's owned by China, and they're collecting information from every American.
Well, whatever it is, I'm enjoying it. You can send in your videos to the program if you would like. The number to do so is the text inbox, which is brought to you by Air Comfort Service, 314-399-9646. Also, we solicit your phone calls for the Collier and Thompson phone lines, 314-974-0101. Caller Ellen says, I try not to be multiple same text person. Do you follow that, Martin? That means she doesn't want to send the text in over and over as some of the texters like to do to try to get our attention.
Spamming. They call that spamming.
Oh, is that what that is?
If you send in the same thing over and over again, it's called spamming. Back me up, Kurt.
Yep.
Kurt,
There you go.
with the backup. So at 7:05, like a text would come in from Uncle Bill's water bottle, and it'll say, hey, Tim, you're the best. Martin sucks. And Tim politely doesn't read it.
I would probably read that, though, honestly.
And you should. 7:12, same text.
Right.
8:15.
No.
Same text.
I appreciate your accurate
7:40, 7:50, 7:58.
The intervals
8:02.
are usually separated by a matter of seconds as opposed to even minutes. All right, caller Ellen says, I try not to be multiple same text person, but I think the text below is essential to the Van 2 AJ storyline. Please ask Jackson to play the remainder of that clip when AJ Clemente tells us about himself. That's right, because, Martin, it was his first night in Market 4. Van 2 did the little getting to know you segment, and AJ, fresh off of the unfortunate open mic incident as the open played, responded to Van 2's question in which she asked him to tell us about himself.
Okay, we'd like to hear that now, please.
I'm watching.
Hold on.
You should have all this right at your fingertips.
I'm not a magician.
Doug Henning will join us at 8:15.
You're going to have to give me a second. You know, this is. I just don't have the world's audio in my back pocket.
The world.
Sounds like you want a piece of Caller Ellen this morning.
No. Hey, I agree.
Caller Ellen, call in and apologize to
I'm
Jackson.
going to pull it, but like the idea that I have this cataloged and ready to roll just at any moment is.
I think that's more than
little
fair,
much. So
by the
just
way.
yeah.
I was wondering.
Just resend it.
I was wondering what AJ was up to, and I hard to find anything current, but I did see that not long after that, he was teaching a high school class in broadcasting.
Oh, Doug.
Well, that
yeah,
makes sense. Kreskin, by the way, just died in December.
All right.
Not available to us, but he's died at 89.
Pull the lever! Some big tough.
I thought that's all you had to do to get whatever audio you wanted.
Pull
was just
levers?
simply pull the lever.
In Jackie's defense, I can see this often play out. Like, I can't see Kurt at all. He's in my rearview mirror. But I have a full view of Jackson's computer screen, and he'll have video pulled up oftentimes. And I think on YouTube, it won't play out the audio. So he gets extremely frustrated because he has it at the ready. It just will not give you audio.
He's got the thumbs up, Martin, and now you know it's good to go. Here you go.
AJ on NBC North Dakota News, and he'll be joining the weekend news team as my co-anchor. Tell us a little bit about yourself, AJ.
Thanks, Van. I'm very excited. I graduated from West Virginia University, and I'm used to, from being from the East Coast.
Okay, well, welcome
That's
aboard,
his life
AJ.
story.
Thanks.
Go for it.
Fatal ATV crash happened yesterday in Williams County. Officials say...
And this guy got the job. How about the people who didn't?
That segue to the fatal crash was a little.
Yeah.
You might want to teach the kid how to segue.
Well, he just saw his life flash before his eyes about 3 or 4 times.
He must have been absolutely terrified.
Like, just
when all
wanting
you
to-
can come up with is, I graduated from West Virginia. I'm used to the East Coast.
So you're in North Dakota referencing West Virginia. God bless him. We've all been there. The nervous first few days.
Yeah.
God bless. I stand with AJ.
AJ Clemente could be the surprise guest, but there is a surprise guest, and it's 8 o'clock. Is that confirmed?
That is confirmed.
All right, 8 o'clock, surprise guest, 10 o'clock on the Stiefel dossier.
It's a good one. It's a big one.
Really? Are you aware?
No idea. I truly don't know. Which usually means it's something in like my wheelhouse. But I don't know.
Everyone's wheelhouse.
All right.
Quinn Snyder?
That'd be great.
There's
No
Quinn
hints coming
Snyder
this
right
way.
now. There'd be no. I felt like I had a read. Martin might be sending off false tells now. God.
The original concept was blues related. That's since passed, but it's okay.
Now I can't figure out what this
now
guy's
he's throwing
doing.
us off the trail.
I mean, he could have air.
What if it's Joey at 8? After all, hey, surprise, guys.
Run it back. That'd be really funny.
That wasn't worth Ellen's extra text. It's from Just Don't Press Push, and he did not like the audio that Jackson dug up.
No, I love that.
That
I
was
thought it was
good.
nice.
That was funny.
good.
I'm not like that. It just took me a second to find it.
And visually, too, you could see the poor kid was really
Sweating
nervous.
bullets.
It was kind of the Boom Goes the Dynamite news version.
Frank Haith, 8 o'clock. That's Dale in Grubville.
Oh, I like that idea.
Frank Haith, Martin. Jackson, would that excite you if it were Frank Haith?
Can I get you to question 2 with Frank Haith? That's always, when I throw him at Jackson and he says back to me, question 2, that means the boys will be out quick.
It's no one hates from me.
No. Okay.
I mean, he's probably an interesting guy. Has some incredible stories. Worked in basketball forever, but
Went to Elon.
me personally, it's like kind of a tough 10 years following Frank Haith. A little less than 10
The
years.
hasty exit.
Yeah, and the next couple of years after were not great.
Is it Jim Cruz? That's from your nemesis, Kwame Voyukas IV.
It's a great.
Don't let me down, Jimmy Cruz.
That's right. Yeah, Digger Phelps had him beaten Louisville, I think he said. Memory
think so.
serves.
Jim Cruz, who reminded us every time we do a little media scrum, like, hey guys, I was retired and Rick got me to do this and for like a year. And I'm like, yeah, but you're now the head coach of a pretty good program. He's like, hey, I wasn't even supposed to be here. He kept saying.
And he said, well, I don't know what went wrong. It was just a basketball game. I don't know.
Well, Jimmy Cruz, don't let me down, Jimmy. I've got you beating Louisville.
Okay.
And he was National Coach of the Year one year.
Yeah. Stepped into a good spot. He said Macheras talked him into it.
You can text in at 314-399-9646. And you're also welcome to call in the Callier and Thompson phone lines, 314-974-0101. Those are one of the many ways you can get involved in the program. In addition to the Design Air Heating and Cooling email today, the morning after at InsideSTL.com. Buck Swope with a win yesterday. Here comes Buck Swope. Only 5 more Design Air Heating and Cooling email today competitions in the month of May. We have today. The station is off for Memorial Day on Monday, so 4 next week, including 2 at the Dotem at Oak Valley Golf Course and Resort. And Doug, the forecast for the Dotem, sweet mother of mercy, how do you do?
Yeah, it's nice.
I mean, glorious. Today, it's going to be wonderful. It is wonderful if you are waking up in the St. Louis metropolitan area. High of 70. Next week, high of 72, high of 77, and it's expected to be lovely at Oak Valley Golf Course
Fabulous.
and Resort.
Still spots open Thursday?
Thursday, there are spots open, Jesse told me, and Friday is sold out.
Okay.
And if you are interested in participating in the fun and games presented to you by Michelob Ultra, go to 101ESPN.com. It includes your breakfast from Donut Drive-In, lunch from Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken, and dinner on Thursday from Texas Roadhouse. All your Michelob Ultra is included. 100 West Dental with the closest to the pin competition, a long drive competition courtesy of Pondoff's Anonymous Recovery Podcast. Find all the Dotem information at 101ESPN.com as we partner with the St. Louis Hero Network in honor of the late, great Brian McKenna and the McKenna family. And the South Side is having a big celebration of Brian's life. They're blocking off, I think it's Mackland from Devonshire on the north side to Nottingham on the south side for a pony of all ponies on Saturday. Saturday afternoon, a week from tomorrow.
May 31st, right?
It's going to be the pony of all ponies. Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, you better believe it.
Is that Francis Park? Is that where that is?
It'd be a little east.
A little east of Francis Park, that's right.
Okay.
The other side of Hampton.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Doug was a little frazzled himself. I walk in every day and Doug is sitting right there waiting for the show to begin. And every day, what do I say, Doug?
Doug is ready to go.
I walk in and say, oh, Doug's ready. He goes, oh, yeah, just so many takes. Couldn't possibly wait till 7. And today, nobody in the room when I walked in.
I didn't even think anything of it when Doug wasn't here. I just assumed you were in the Little Wizards room.
No.
But you had a 270 accident situation?
Accident a little north of Doherty Ferry, between Doherty Ferry and Manchester.
Yeah.
Had cars backed up clear past 44. So it was a parking lot for about 25 minutes.
It got me for a little bit. I was worried you weren't going to make it in. Because you're usually just a little bit behind me, and I sat in it for a little bit.
Kept thinking, do I get off at Doherty Ferry? Do I get off at Manchester? When do I get off? I just hung with it, and it cleared up.
Gateway Dreamfields is guessing Mark McGuire is the guest.
That'd be a good one.
Sure
Son's playing for SLU baseball. Mark McGuire. Writing it down.
That'd be nice. Sure
Actually, KG and I were talking before the show about potential guests and who would be interesting, and we actually discussed Mark McGuire. Mark McGuire.
Okay, yeah, write that down.
Pick up tells. I'm trying to pick up tells. Yeah. God, I can't. Martin doesn't give off any.
You got initials, guy?
Yeah, probably not.
Okay.
I was wearing Jordan Walden's underwear on the way home.
Well, the cat would be good. Although he might be
an odd
busy now.
sentence
He
right
does
there.
have a show. He doesn't have a show. Okay.
That's an odd sentence.
What was wrong with that? I believe the late, great Joe Strauss accused the cat of carrying the Cardinal water, which is what he did, hence the rights holder merit badge comment. And one of the things was the feature piece that the cat did on Jordan Walden. And so the cat was mocking Strauss, mocking him by saying he was wearing Jordan Walden's underwear.
Jordan Walden balloon party is on its way.
And Jordan Walden did go on to be, he's Red Jacket?
I don't think so. No. But he was pretty good there for a year or two, wasn't he?
Seemed like a pleasant gentleman.
Yeah, he was all right.
Matt Morris is the guest. That's from Doug's Tariffs.
I don't think I'd put him as a surprise, but I'll write it down. Matt Morris.
Martin writes these down when you guys send these guesses in.
Brady Kachuk was suggested.
I see that. That's from the Warson Woods Wacko. You can send yours in 314-399-9646. Then you got the Michelob Ultra YouTube chat. Design Air, sponsor of the email of the day. Design Air, online at designairservice.com. A beautiful day here to start Memorial Day weekend if you are in the St. Louis area. And maybe I'll be wrong on this. If you're looking at your weather app forecast, it shows rain on Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, and now on Tuesday for that matter. But I think it's not winter rain or spring rain. I think we'll have storms that'll hit. That's what I'm hoping anyway. Maybe I'll be wrong. And then they'll come through. So we will have precipitation, but it won't be like all day washout.
Oh, okay.
So that's what I'm thinking. Design Air Heating and Cooling. Martin's a client, Doug's a client, I'm a client, Seth Goldcamp, and Design Air Heating and Cooling, longest running sponsor on TMA. Got any HVAC issues, go to designairservice.com. All right, here's what we got. Surprise guest, 8 o'clock, drops of the week, 8:45. Joey Vitale, 10 o'clock. Design Air Heating and Cooling email of the day at 10:45. This is TMA, presented to you by Brown and Crouppen on 101 ESPN and the TMA STL YouTube channel. Michael's Flooring, locally and family owned, going back more than 3 decades now. If you are in need of flooring and all the varieties they carry at Michael's Flooring, all you have to do to check it out is go to igotfloored.com. Michael takes pride in helping and making sure that his employees are happy and make a great living. And when the employees are happy, the customers are happy. There's a reason he's continued to grow through the 31 years in business, because employees love working for him as they feel like family, and he makes sure they're taken care of. And then this rubs off to the families buying the product as they know are the best interests of the buyers at heart. They have it all, but carpet is awesome and it's back. They have so many varieties of all flooring and have 3 easy-to-get-to locations in St. Louis: Creve Coeur, Darden Prairie, and St. Peter's. Come see why people are loving getting floored by Michael, and make sure you visit igotfloored.com. Doug, Party Man by Prince is our first for Jackson's Friday music theme here on 101 ESPN. Jackson, any hints you want to give Doug?
I'll just say it. One Name Friday. Artist with one name.
So we're going to hear it from Madonna. What Madonna song you think it's going to be? You like Cherish, little bouncy. She's rolling around on the beach as a mermaid. Is that fun for you?
No, it's good times. Good times. Maybe Cher?
Yeah, I think we're probably going to hear some
Elvis?
Cher.
Yeah, I would say Elvis, yes.
Okay.
Even though obviously people know his last name.
But you're young and hip, so you'll play like Hosier or something. We're thinking old school Prince, Cher.
No, I've got
You're all
some
over the
classics.
place?
Yeah.
I like it. Kind of a surprise, Tim. I like this.
Just like the surprise guest, which is coming your way at 8 o'clock. And Joey Vitale at 10 o'clock. They had field day at the school, and I understand Joey Vitale was at the school yesterday, so I'm anxious to see if he was just, I was wondering if he was a volunteer, if he was participating as, blues representative. So Joey Vitale will wander through the birds living in his backyard at 10 o'clock and break down the Panthers skull pounding the Hurricanes.
Yeah. 5-0 last night.
Yeah.
It looks like they're just going to waltz through this now. I just get that feeling.
I would have thought there would have been a response last night from the Hurricanes, and they got shipped, and they were getting shipped from the get-go. And I know, Jackson, you're attracted to Rod Brindamore. And he was fourth on your list, right? It was Lindy Ruff's the most attractive, Scott Arneal.
Yeah, but the new list, I think Rod the Bod might fall out.
Really? No. Because they can't win a conference finals game?
Yeah.
They've lost 14 in a row.
Unbelievable.
I really didn't realize it was that bad. As much as we talk about Winnipeg can't win a first-round series, how would you like to be a Carolina fan? You get to the conference finals, and you know you're going to get smoked. 14 straight losses in the conference final.
So is Rod the Bod's out of your top 5?
He's probably going to fall out.
When do you release these every Friday?
Is there a new entry? Is there some new?
Tweet these out.
Well, as soon as
from the TMA account.
Yeah, as soon as the chalice gets hoisted,
That's when you release your top 5.
I have respect for Lord Stanley's Cup. I won't do it during,
you don't want to distract.
Well, you don't do like trades in baseball until the World Series is won. After the season, that's when you make some moves. Out of respect for the trophy.
Does the winning coach move up the rankings in terms of handsomeness?
It gets under consideration.
Really?
But
Makes him a little more handsome because he's carrying around that hardware?
I wasn't aware of Paul Maurice's game, so he's...
Is it a game or is it just the way he looks?
I don't know, man. He's just entered my mind. So,
wow, gosh.
Really
well, just
weird.
at least my purview. And then Martin St. Louis, I would say, is really growing in my estimation.
All right, Doug, those are Jackson's rankings of attractive coaches in the NHL. You can give your list as well by texting in the Air Comfort Service text inbox 314-399-9646. Recommended reading. I like to give the audience recommended reading and recommended programs. I gave the Osama bin Laden series on Netflix a recommendation this week. Doug, have you watched it?
I watched the first episode yesterday, and then the roofers had an issue. Had a roof put on our house. So I watched the first episode.
What'd you think?
They loved it, though.
Yeah, it's very well done, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, we watched it Wednesday night, Carnival Day. So we were home by like 7 o'clock.
All boozed up. Let's watch 6 hours of a show.
Yeah, roughly. And I was 7 o'clock. I said, we got to watch this show, whatever. And we just plowed through all 3, and it was great. And it makes me want to watch Zero Dark 30 again.
I kind of agree with you.
I want to go back and watch that film again. It's amazing the amount of detail that went into that. And then the inside the room, all of the higher-ups in the administration, also the member of the SEAL team, just all of that detail that went into the capture and killing of bin Laden. It's fascinating to me. And those famous shots, too, where like Hillary is covering her face. I would love to hear from the White House photographer. There's so many shots they take that end up being
iconic,
just iconic and almost necessary for these documentaries. It was really well done.
I like the tough talking CIA guys.
Yes.
Kofor Smith, I think was his name.
They had weird names.
He said, I wasn't at the table when we had the first meeting, but I put my elbows right up there and said, I got this.
Yeah.
And Bush said, okay, you're the man. You do it.
Kind of had a Winston Churchill vibe, too.
Yep.
So that's our recommended viewing for your Memorial Day weekend. That's on Netflix. Recommended reading this morning, just posted from Katie Wu of The Athletic this morning, is the title of the article, With Attendance Down, Cardinals Commit to Improving the Busch Stadium Experience. Nestled in the downtown of a baseball-crazed city, the Cardinals homestands half full most games. Dozens of sections in the upper level sit uninhabited. Some concession stands have been vacated. The roar of a usually passionate home crowd is muted. As the Cardinals navigate the early portion of their transition season, they have seen a significant drop-off in attendance. The Cardinals set their lowest single-game recorded attendance of the Busch Stadium 3 era with a mere 20,309 attending in April's second game against the Angels. From a league-wide perspective, categorizing Busch Stadium as a ghost town would be unfair. Heading into play Friday tonight against the Diamondbacks, St. Louis had drawn 686,954 fans this season, just above league average. And their average official attendance, which of course is not gate attendance, of 28,623 puts them 13th in baseball. And Katie goes on to write that the Cardinals budgeted for lower attendance, but efforts to entice fans to the ballpark continue to be an emphasis. As the team itself undergoes a transition year, the business side is doing the same. And what will likely be a down year in attendance, even if the team keeps up its strong play, Cardinals brass is committing to finding new ways to draw fans back to Busch Stadium. So I'll read some of that here momentarily, but I'll start with this question. Martin, go to you. What do you think about the numbers that you're hearing? They're 13th in attendance in baseball.
You mean the numbers that have been reported so far?
Right.
Or
and where they sit? And Katie says that the Cardinals are expecting it still to trend that direction and not improve, even if the team
like
plays
not
better.
A major uptick expected.
Correct.
I think that's still probably what they're planning on. I think they'd be surprised and pleasantly surprised if it went up dramatically. I think the team's probably better. Like on the business side, I bet they didn't think the team was going to be terribly competitive. So they probably said, hey, and I know they had some meetings with staff during the winter saying, hey, it could be a little rough run here. It's not what it normally looks like. So I think they're fully prepared for it, but maybe the team being a little better, more exciting than many had guessed. I think that they probably will be surprised that they'll get a little uptick here. I think in the summer. I think more of a June bump is coming if they continue to play well. Now, if they go backwards, then all of a sudden there's no new incentive. So what's that final number look like? I mean,
13th in baseball right now. 28,600 is the average.
Yeah, I don't see the average. Gosh, I think you'll just see more attend. I don't think that number will move as much as maybe you'll see more bodies in there because your dad or your mom's company has tickets and you're like, I don't want to go. It's April. All of a sudden, those tickets that are bought, I think some people will be more interested in going. So I don't think the 28 moves dramatically, but the actual visual of people in the house might go up.
When you look at the stadium and think that that's a little better than half the teams in the league, it doesn't say much for baseball, does it? Because it looks like people are terribly disinterested and must be around the country, except for a handful of teams. But I'm with you. I think attendance will get considerably better, especially if they stay in contention as they are now.
So I don't think considerably. I think it'll go up, though. But I also think in baseball, more so than almost any sport, if you're in, there's no doubt, attendance is down, it's a thing. But if you go to games, people are walking around. They're everywhere in the building except their seat. So even if you're watching that game on TV, there could be another 5,000. Their kids are eating Dippin' Dots. They're up in that right field corner drinking beer. Like, what's the score? Like, it's a weird thing with baseball where fans now go to the games and rarely sit and watch. Now, you go to a hockey game, you're not just standing in the concourse during the second period. You're in your seat. You go to an NFL game, largely you're in that seat. And there is something to it in baseball. It doesn't explain overall attendance drop. I'm not glossing over that, but there's something strange about baseball where a lot of people are in, because Bill DeWitt the third, when I told him, I said, my theory is it's a third less than what's actually announced. He said, that's way too high, my third number. And he said, we actually see the gate, like the turnstile count. So I think they have a better gauge than we do. Now, I wish they would tell us the turnstile number. It used to be the National League would tell you actual attendance. I don't know why, but the American League always did tickets sold. It was always a weird thing. American League's numbers always looked great, but those were just sold. National League was always turnstile. And I don't know why. Just announce both. Wouldn't that be interesting to say 30,000 sold, 22,000 turnstile?
I wonder what the reasoning would be on that.
No, you still get the money if you sell the ticket, whether the guy shows up or not. You don't get the concession money, or the parking money, or the merchandise money.
I would expect the attendance to go up in June, even if the Cardinals, continue what has been a recent skid, losing 3 of 4. And the reason is you have some attractive series and dates of games. Big homestand starting on June 3rd. With the Royals coming to town. Then you have 3 against the Dodgers. The Blue Jays on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. That one might struggle. Then they travel to Milwaukee and Chicago on the south side. Then you get a weekend series with the Reds and a 4-game series during the week, Monday through Thursday, with the Cubs. You would think that would be prime real estate. If you have a series, I don't know how big the Royals thing is on this side of the state. And I think Kansas City might have moved past St. Louis with their insecurity crap now that they have good things going on over there. 20 years ago, it might have been a bigger deal. But with the Royals coming over here, then you get the Dodgers, and then you get 4 games with the Cubs. Mathematically, that's going to be their big month.
Yeah, that would make sense. It seems to me, and maybe I'm off base here, it seems like they play more afternoon day games now than they used to play. It's probably part of the player agreement that they need time to get out of town and travel to the next. But I would think that would hurt them in attendance, too. When you're playing weekday games at 1:15, there's a lot of people who can't make that. A lot of people can't get there. I don't know if they'll look at that again or if it's just baked into the player agreement now that they can't, but that can't help.
I don't get all the Thursdays off and then playing on Mondays. If you're trying to attract fans, Thursday's a lot more appealing than a Monday. And I understand it would probably have to be a day game on a Thursday because they're trying to get to another town. But if you had tickets offered to you and your family, hey, you want to go Monday night? What about Thursday day? Sounds a little better.
Yeah.
But they have a lot of Thursdays off, and maybe that's part of the agreement too.
It's doubled. From 2021 to 2024, it's increased 87.8%.
What if that's part of the CBA?
Yeah, I would have to think.
And you say double, that's the number of day games during the week?
Yeah. So there used to be 41% of weekday starts before 7 p.m., and that's doubled.
Well, that could be because now they play at 6:45 a lot of nights instead of 7.
Yeah, does that count, Jackson? The 6:45s?
So I'm reading the posts here. Over the last 4 seasons, MLB clubs have scheduled more early weekday start times, coupled with the improved pace of play, the number of weekday games ending prior. Okay, so that's
more like a 6:30, 6:45.
My bad.
Jackson is apologizing before you send in your texts.
Too late.
Yeah, and your Michelob Ultra YouTube chat posts. Jackson has apologized. Now, this is what Bill DeWitt III had to say about their efforts. Frankly, with the team being in a cyclical downturn, we are creating that urgency to do absolutely everything we can to make the game and the experience more fun and more exciting. Again, this article in The Athletic this morning, written by Katie Wu. We had Anoop Karunaratne in studio. He is now the Vice President of Business Operations. He replaced Dan Farrell when he retired. And he said one of their concerted efforts is to bring in younger fans. He said the Cardinal tradition resonates with several generations, but the organization needs to be cognizant of all generations when mapping out the in-game experience, and that's why many of the team's new directive focus on appealing to fans in their 20s and 30s. So, a few examples. Cardinals have launched $5 Friday nights at the Budweiser Terrace, the gathering spot in upper deck in right field, where fans can purchase $5 hot dogs, $5 draft beers, and $6 margaritas all game long with live music and a DJ. It's the first event of its kind at the stadium, and it's designed to turn the game into a social event. St. Louis is also following in the footsteps of many other teams by adding a post-game summer concert series for the first time. 2 shows are on the schedule as of right now. Country singer Cole Swindell, and then one of your favorites, Flo Rida. Mm-hmm. And I know you sometimes get him confused with Petey Pablo.
I do.
Freak a Leak, which I think was 2003. Jackson just fist pumped.
No, I was waving my shirt over my head like Petey Pablo.
Yeah, Freak a Leak.
Huh. Did you learn that at one of those freak parties?
No comment.
Oh, gosh.
He says, what was clearly a big priority is thinking about how we connect with a new generation and younger fans that have different expectations about attending a live event and how they consume the game. What that group of people is looking for looks different than prior generations. The challenge is you have to be able to deliver multiple different experiences. There is no longer a one-size-fits-all approach. So they are efforting a way to target younger fans, which is certainly smart. I'd be curious if it converts.
Younger fans want more action. They don't want to just sit there and watch baseball and nothing fancy going on. Maybe they could learn something from the Savannah Bananas that sell out everywhere they go. I don't mean asking their left fielder to do a backflip when he makes a catch on a fly ball, but they're doing something there that's caught the public's fascination.
You think Wilson Contreras should play first on stilts?
I wouldn't mind it.
Just what if they just started doing random circus-esque moves and didn't report it, acted like what? What are you talking about?
Yeah, flash mobs.
Yes.
Flash mobs.
But it's a real thing. My Marquette Alumni Association has a golf tournament. But every year we look around and we say it's the same people coming. How do you get younger alumni? And then the argument is, well, the price point, they don't want to spend $300, even though it's going to a scholarship because they're just out of school, they've got school debt. But if you don't get them involved in some way early on, then they'll never come to it. And I think that's similar to baseball and the Cardinals saying, okay, but if you're not coming now, we're not going to get you when you're 40 or 50. So I think it's smart that you have to get in front of it.
They redid the scoreboard to feature more trending statistics. I would imagine that will
That won't do it. That won't do it.
That will lend itself to when gambling starts in Missouri. And then also the Cardinals replaced and rewired their speaker system throughout the ballpark and installed the control system so they can manage different sound levels and different sounds altogether in various sections. So some sections will play music while others will feature either the television or radio broadcast. Didn't we have somebody call in or text in?
Oh, yeah.
And said that they're playing music and they're not playing the broadcast?
That was not the case when I was at the game on Tuesday.
Okay, so it's different different sections are getting different audio. Quote from Bill DeWitt III, "This is all part of the process. We want to be in a much more creative and experimental phase of what works and what doesn't as we look at fan segmentation and attracting younger fans, but also serving our long-term fans as well."
I've offered this solution to them, and it's very simple. It's my Release the Hoosier initiative.
Yeah, I'd take the family down to see that.
Want to do that in multiple innings to keep the crowd there, that'd be fine.
Right, and you don't put it on television. Make it so you have to go to the game to see it.
Right.
You know, and make
kind of like a streaker. If you're not there, you don't get to see it.
Worth the price of admission.
Right.
True, it's one of the best ideas I've ever heard.
Absolutely. Release the Hoosier. Maybe do it in the second to get people there early.
Nice.
And then again in the eighth.
In college.
Keep them there.
This was a class we took, game day experience classes. Like we sat there, sport management classes, doing this. No one came up with the idea half this good.
How about that, Doug?
I think he's seriously all in.
I have friends who've heard this and they're like, I would pay the $20 or whatever it was for a ticket just to see this.
Yeah, and if he survives the second inning, then he gets to come back.
Right.
And go for the seventh.
The grand prize.
Yep.
If not, you spend some time. Maybe they put a jail out somewhere where you can see them in the stadium.
Next to the bullpen.
Or just have a jail cam.
Yeah.
You can see their pacing.
Fans can throw things at them.
Or bring them a drink every now and then.
Doug, is this why Arenado turned down the Houston trade? Because he still thought they might do this?
You tell me you couldn't sell some tickets with the Release the Hoosier initiative?
Think of the applications to be one of the guys who tries to catch them, too.
Oh, yeah.
Through the roof.
I guarantee players would enjoy Release.
Oh, my God. Of course. Everyone would.
Can't wait to come to St. Louis. Why is that? Release the Hoosier. Bill DeWitt III said, "This is about where we thought we'd be, attendance-wise. Now, hopefully, we can exceed that given the better team performance lately, but that remains to be seen. A big chunk of our ticket sales, usually around 70%, happen before the season. So it's really almost impossible to catch up to where we might have been in previous years. But if we can exceed our budget, then it creates all sorts of opportunities to make things a little easier."
Friend of the show, Luis, says game audio is only played in the Redbird Club. Rest of the stadium is music.
How about that?
That's a new twist.
But I was not in the Redbird Club, and when I went
sounds
to
like
the
you want to fight Luis.
Well, I went to the bathroom, and
Luis Jackson is sideways with you.
But what are they calling? Like, is the Redbird Club right below the press box? Is that what the Redbird Club is?
I think it's that loge-ish club level. Yeah.
Well, I was in the right field bleachers, in the bathroom right next to it. I was playing the ball game. Where I heard Victor
Luis says
Scott's
Cardinals
double.
also installed new player speakers in the field per player request. Maybe they wanted to jazz it up in the field.
I respect that. The speakers sounded good.
Why don't we get B3 in studio?
That'd be great.
B3 in studio.
Doug, can you explain release the Hoosier for newer listeners? That's from the 574. 574, not 573, 574.
I'm sure you've seen how it works at a rodeo where there's a bull in like a little cage, and then they open the door and the bull runs out, and the cowboy tries to stay on for 8 seconds or more. I'm saying instead of a bull, you have just a slightly overweight Hoosier. Maybe this shirt doesn't cover his gut all the way, and he sits in that pen right at like home plate or next to it between innings, and then somebody opens the gate, the Hoosier runs out, and a bunch of ushers, maybe 4 or 5 ushers, very unathletic, not very fast ushers, they run after him and try to tackle this Hoosier. And if he can stay on his feet for 45 seconds or a minute running around the stadium with the ushers chasing him, if he can stay on his feet, he gets like tickets to the next game or season tickets or whatever. If he gets tackled, they put him out in jail somewhere by the bullpen out in the outfield for the rest of the game.
I'm in.
I could do that.
Twice a game. Once in the second to get you there early, once in the eighth to make sure you stay late.
The second one's for the grand prize. He's down for all the marbles.
Mm-hmm. And if Manfred complained, you say, dude, you wanted the golden at bat. Get out of here.
Yeah, seriously.
He can't complain.
I think it would work.
Yeah.
I'm in. Full support of Doug's idea.
You'd have to watch it, wouldn't you?
Yeah, the cage would have like how like a gerbil has that water bottle with the little metal tube.
Yeah, you always thought it was related to a gerbil.
Right. Well, they just filled it up with, you get them all liquored up, so that they're ready to rock,
Right.
Free of inhibition.
Maybe instead of the Hoosier just running around all over the stadium, he's got to touch all the bases.
He's going to make it.
Yeah, and the ushers have to stay in the baseline, too, to try to bring him down.
So good.
Louise says music can get switched to game audio if the game is closed.
Okay.
There we go.
All right. I went to the bathroom. It was the 6th inning when they were making that little 2-out rally.
Actual intel on
the Tigers game with Scooble starting?
Yes, this is the Tuesday Tiger game.
But if you're going to the game, you always kind of want to know what's going on in the game, right? You don't say, boy, I got to go to the bathroom to hear some tunes.
I would prefer.
But what if you're rolling balls? You want some EDM to tingle your spine, right?
No.
Okay.
Do you think they should still have like a little house music section? Some of these places.
Chuckles Marlowe would go to that. Yeah. He loves that EDM.
Well, some of these places have hot tubs, which I think is odd.
Was it Avicii?
Yeah, he did like
Avicii.
Rest in peace. Jake's Coke, Rails.
Busch Stadium also needs a cardinal flying around, a neon cardinal flying around the outfield when someone hits a home run. Ooh. Busch, too, had that for a while.
Oh, really? That sounds cool.
And now with drones and everything, someone hits a home run, I want to see real cardinals flying around the stadium chirping.
Kind of like that eagle on Highway 40, how the wings flapped off. They used to have a little red bird that would go around.
The Anaheim Mighty Ducks have drones that look like ducks. And when something happens big with the ducks are flying all around the building.
Yeah,
it's
Jackson
very cool.
says if you can pattern an organization, it would be...
Yeah, it would be the Anaheim Ducks.
Sharon in Clayton says, I love the idea, but you're going to have a hard time finding candidates. There are no, quote, slightly overweight Hoosiers. That's Sharon in Clayton, and she is the star of The Real Housewives of TMA.
Well, massively overweight would be even funnier.
Yeah, honestly, anyone will do.
Mm-hmm.
It's the best part is just seeing like them like almost escape and then just getting leveled from like their blind side.
Yeah.
The 314 says, I will volunteer to be the first Hoosier.
Good. See? It's already working.
Yeah, we have a tribute.
And maybe one usher should be like a former football player or something that has a potential to just really level the Hoosier.
Former Mizzou defensive back.
You can text in. Sounds like a lot of people, I'm looking at this, want to be the Hoosier. So.
Oh, do they say? Sure, they're lining up already.
314.
You might even make the Hoosiers pay $10 for the right to do this.
Revenue stream.
Revenue
stream.
To enter,
314-399-9646. Yeah, like what if a guy goes on a 5-game winning streak?
Oh, it'd be
we got to go down and see him. This guy,
it's like Jeopardy.
Maximus.
He's Ken Jennings.
314-399-9646. That's how you can text, and you want to call in 314-974-0101. Collier and Thompson phone lines. And, of course, we are welcoming you to email in for the Design Air Heating and Cooling email today, which comes your way at 10:45. Got a surprise guest coming up at 8 o'clock. Can't wait to find out. Mike Martz? Mark McGuire?
Oh, who knows?
Brown & Krupin's the presenting sponsor of this program. They're online at Brown & Krupin. 314-222-2222. That's Brown and Crouppen. If you are injured and need a personal injury attorney, don't you want someone who is local and knows the legal environment
I do, yeah.
in the St. Louis area? Yeah, well, Brown and Crouppen has been in the St. Louis area, founded in the St. Louis area since 1979. They just built brand new offices down on the hill, right across from Ragazzi's. And we know Terry Crouppen and Andy Crouppen and Ed Herman and think very highly of them and look forward to talking it over with them every Tuesday. You can call them at 314-222-2222 or go online at brownandcrouppen.com and make sure you let them know you heard about them on TMA. Remember, the choice of an attorney is an important decision. It should not be based solely on advertisements. The program's called The Morning After. It is presented to you by Brown and Crouppen. It's on 101 ESPN and the TMA STL YouTube channel. Surprise guest coming up next here on TMA.
This is Jackson with a Sports Center update driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. Those Diamondbacks are slithering into town today as they take on the Redbirds. It's a 7:15 first pitch on Apple TV this evening. Miles Michaelis on the mound for the Cardinals. Zach Gallen on the mound for Arizona. That was their Sports Center update driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. See them at londoff.com. Chevy, together we drive. Are you kidding me?
Surprise, surprise, surprise. Now what, if anything, that ball contains, we don't know. This is an adventure you and I are going to be taking together.
You've got a big surprise coming to you.
You guys know the drill. We want a guest that's fun, entertaining, knows their sports, plays a little ball. But I also thought a couple weeks ago it was Blues related. We're coming off a tough loss. Thought we needed a little something. Cheer up the entire region, I would say.
That would help, yeah.
Is it KG, the caller is on the line? Is that correct?
They are on the ready.
Okay. Caller, welcome in. Who do we have on the line with us today?
Hi, guys. It's John from New York.
Hey, John from New York. Did you want to cheer us up about, are you a Blues guy? Is that what you are?
Blues guy. I'm a Cardinals guy. Born and raised in St. Louis.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
a long-time listener, first-time caller kind of guy.
Are you on the cover of GQ this week?
I was about to say
Maybe.
Are you on GQ this week?
This is the great Jon Hamm.
Is this Jon Hamm?
There you go. Come on.
Unbelievable, Martin.
We got to rally the troops.
Here we go. This is an absolute treat. Jon Hamm with us here on 101 ESPN and on TMA. Wow, wow, wow.
John, thanks for calling it. Everybody on this panel is a Mizzou geek except me, and now we got a Mizzou guy on the line as well.
That's what I'm talking about. We're uniting factions. That's what I'm doing.
That bringing us all together. Are you over the Blues painful? Like, so we're the Blues flagship station, and we've tried, but
I know.
Are you over it?
Yeah, over it. Yes, it took a minute to process. I don't know if you guys know this. I have a little back channel text thread with some of the guys on the team, and I gave everybody a little space to kind of get through that difficult series of days, I'm sure, that followed. And there's no good way to lose a Game 7, but that was probably the worst way to lose it. And then, of course, about 2 days ago, I was in New York City and got a chance to go to the Knicks game and watch them spit away a 13-point lead in the last 3 minutes of the game. So maybe it's me. I don't know.
Probably not.
John, you almost went, I don't know, viral's too strong, but the Halliburton ball out of bounds, everybody's saying you grabbed it. I've studied the tape, Tim, like the Zapruder film, and I think the ball landed in John's lap. Are you okay with how this is being depicted?
I am not okay. I'm here to set the record straight, by the way. It landed in my dear friend Tom Rothman's lap, who was sitting to my right. There's no good angle on it, which I think that the powers that be are hiding the actual footage. But I was there. It did land. Tom Rothman, who is the chairman of Sony Pictures Entertainment, I took the bullet for Tom. So I was actually texting Reggie Miller during the game. And I said, hey, you got to set the record straight here. I didn't do this because my phone had about 75 texts in about 13 seconds. Everyone was, nice defense, nice grab. Wasn't me.
I want to go back to the misery that was approximately 20 days ago with the Blues. I would imagine you were watching it live. Give me the circumstances, because it was as devastating. I think it's up there with the '85 World Series. We got to go back to something like that in St. Louis, where we're on the verge of winning a series or a game and then having it ripped away. So where were you? What were you doing? What was your reaction?
My wife and our friend and my dog had gone to a local bar here in our neighborhood in New York City, and we watched the first two periods on a television above the bar that was about the size of a lunchbox. And so we decided to catch the third period after Foxa scores the goal at the end of the second. We go, okay, let's go watch the third period home. We'll put it on the big screen. We'll change venues. It'll be fine. And we went home, and what happened. And we were all kind of just in a little bit of shock. Yeah, it was live. It was not fun. It was immediate, and it was a learning experience. I think that if there's any takeaway, I think you guys have probably gone over this for sure. But it's a young group of kids on the young core on that team, and that's the kind of thing that you take it one of two ways. You either build off of it, or it's it never leaves you and it haunts you forever. These guys are all professionals. They've all lost close games. They've all won close games. There's no, like I said, there's no good way to lose a game 7. I would have taken that over the way Toronto went out in their game 7. I'll say that much.
Yeah, we're losing 6-1, not even showing up, huh? Yeah, brutal. Hey, I got to ask you about this. There were some fans who were surprised and or disappointed to see you representing Kansas City at the Super Bowl. How did that happen, and are you a longtime Chiefs fan, John?
Well, I got to say, it happened because the NFL, in their great wisdom, decided to take 2 franchises away from St. Louis. And I brought that subject up with Roger Goodell to his face and said, what did we ever do to you? I was a Cardinal fan back in the 70s. I was a Rams fan when the greatest show on turf happened. When the Rams went to the Super Bowl in L.A., I went and rooted for them. There's not a lot left, It's a Midwestern team. I know some of the people close to it. Paul Rudd, who's been a longtime Chiefs fan, friend of mine. So it's a little bit of a default rooting scenario. But I'll say, listen, it's a desert. It's a football desert right now in St. Louis. Other than the Battlehawks, which I do watch, it's fun to watch those guys. And it was born out of necessity. I'll put it that way.
You're friends with Paul Rudd, close friends with Paul Rudd.
We go back to when I was in high school and he was in college at KU.
The high school, I was just listening to Amy Poehler's podcast a few weeks ago, and
there you go.
Yeah, absolutely, good entertainment on there. And he was telling the story, the whole how you guys got to know each other, and I was like, I wonder why they didn't go with Paul Rudd. He's kind of like the face of Kansas City when they go to the World Series or the Super Bowl.
Paul was flying. Here's why. A little backstage drama.
Yeah,
Paul was flying in from Australia. He was shooting Anaconda. They're rebooting Anaconda with Paul and Jack Black, and kind of a funny Tropic Thunder-y kind of take on it. And he was flying in, and they weren't sure he was going to make it to the game in time. So, obviously it was right at the top of the show. It was a great honor to get to do it. Again, it led to what it led to, unfortunately, in the game, but it was really fun. It's New Orleans is always fun. You have to really try hard to have a bad time in New Orleans. But again, didn't go the Chiefs' way that day. And we'll see what happens this year. I mean, I think Philly drafted really well. I think Kansas City got a pretty good draft as well. So we'll see what happens.
I enjoyed the GQ cover piece, Tim, this week. Is Jon Hamm is on it. It said, Jon Hamm is back. And you said something akin to, where did I go? Like, I feel like you've been in a million things. Have you not been in a million? It's not like since Mad Men, like, boy, what did he took a sabbatical? I'm like, no, he was in Top Gun 2. He had Fargo, that series. He was on Curb. I mean, does it surprise you that that's the narrative?
I think in the absence of something that is as career defining as Mad Men, that people look for that kind of narrative for sure. I've always been, even before Mad Men, a guy who likes to do a lot of things. I used to say it about if you wanted to do the same thing over and over again, there's a ton of factories that you could work in. I chose to be an actor because I get to do a lot of different things, and I get to play a lot of different parts. And as you mentioned, do things like Curb Your Enthusiasm or that is about as far away from Fargo as you can get. Is Curb. And so, doing something like the morning show, or even the new show I'm doing for Apple, Your Friends and Neighbors, which is coming, the 8th episode of which will drop tonight on Apple TV Plus. It's great, and then that's what I like about my job, is that I get to do fun things and a wide range of things, and that's maybe people think I went away because Don Draper went away, but I'm still here.
Jon Hamm, our guest, the surprise guest here on TMA 101 ESPN. Tim McKernan, Doug Vaughn, Martin Kilcoyne with you on the program. You can watch our conversation on YouTube on the TMA STL channel. I'm telling you, man, your friends and neighbors is outstanding. I'm curious. I mean, you're involved in a bunch of projects. I would imagine sometimes you get done with it, or even while you're in the middle of it, oh man, it's probably isn't hitting. And then sometimes it's hitting. With this one, when did you know you had something? Because this thing, I tell Jackson here, I say, wait till you watch this. I can't wait till Fridays to watch it. It's an incredible show.
Well, first of all, thank you. I tell you what happened when the show dropped in the beginning of April. I had just come out. We had a week's worth of press to come out to do it the first week in April in New York City. And it had just happened to coincide with not only my wife's birthday, but also the week I was hosting Saturday Night Live. So we had the premiere I start hosting SNL on Monday. The premiere's on Tuesday, the same day as my wife's birthday. I've got 3 days of press, including doing like Jimmy Fallon and a couple of the shows here in New York City, and the Today Show, yada yada. All while I'm hosting the show, hosting SNL. Saturday comes, I host the show on live on Saturday night at 8H, and then Monday is the first day of shooting season 2. So it was a busy week, and then by the time all the dust settled and we started to see the numbers come in, and I started to hear a lot from people, and people are texting me, and I'm listening, I'm getting feedback from everybody. That was probably that next week where everybody started feeling really good that the show was finding its audience, and to that end, I've heard from so many friends back in St. Louis, friends from John Burroughs and former students, and just so many people in my life saying how much they're enjoying the show, and that's a tremendous compliment. You sometimes you do make these things in a vacuum, and you think, is anybody going to watch this thing? So when it hits, it really does feel good.
And why do you think it's resonating? And I really do, seriously, not just because John's on the phone. He's doing fine without me talking about it. But
you don't think he needs your endorsement, Tim?
I don't think he needs me pumping it up, but it's so damn good. Like, there hasn't been a show like this, but it's resonating, and I'm not sure. I'll tell you what, man, every time I watch it, every Friday night, I say, God, this is going to give me so much anxiety, but I can't stop watching it. Why do you think it's hitting?
I think because there's kind of, in the moment right now, it feels like there's a little bit of a vicarious thrill of seeing people that seemingly have it all kind of go through some difficulties. I think there is something in the zeitgeist right now where people are feeling a little bit nervous about what the future is going to bring, and how are they going to keep all these plates spinning in the air, and what's going to come of, what's the future hold. And in the old days, it felt like, what the premise that the show sets up, if you did all the right things and you went all to the right schools and you showed up at the right interviews and you did all the right things, you would have a life that you could look back and you could be very proud of. And I feel like that, for whatever reason, is starting to slip a little bit, and people are feeling a little bit nervous about, as you said, anxious about what exactly the future is going to hold for them, whether it's AI or what have you, about uncertainty, the political environment maybe, or fill in the blank of the things that keep people up at night. So I think that there is something resonating for people about watching my guy kind of go through this very dramatically enhanced version of that, and thinking, thank God that's not me.
Yeah, I think there's something to that. It's a hell of a show, man. It is.
And the Rotten Tomatoes, I think Rotten Tomatoes, I don't know if actors care about Rotten Tomatoes. There aren't really critics anymore. It used to be, what, Siskel and Ebert, thumbs up, thumbs down, but I think Rotten Tomatoes is like 81 or something. Right. So do
you guys look at that stuff, John?
Well, we don't necessarily, but the people that pay us do. So it's important.
Have you ever thought about giving up this acting bug that you've got and getting into local sports talk radio?
Yeah,
just for the income potential?
Yeah, for the money.
Backup plan.
Listen, I'll tell you what. Anytime the Blues, do something exciting or important, I get the call, and that's all I care about. I'll say it's nice to actually have the Cardinals to care about too right now, because they're on a bit of a heater as well, which has been nice to watch. It feels like that potential energy is finally yielding results, so to speak. Because it's been a minute since those guys have had the ship pointed in the right direction, seemingly.
Our producer, John, Jackson Burkett, is a Ladue guy, young guy, but loves the cinema and can just rattle off knowledge about film. Jackson, would you like to ask the great Jon Hamm a question?
Yes, I have The Town. Your role in The Town is one of my favorites. Role in the Star Market for a box of quarters. And I wanted to ask, what's harder not to break between Zach Galifianakis and Between Two Ferns, trying not to break there, or doing scenes with Larry David on Curb Your Enthusiasm, which is obviously all improv?
That's a hell of a question.
What's harder to keep it together?
You know what? I'll tell you, I'm usually pretty good at keeping it together, but I'll tell you the hardest time, specifically the hardest time that I had, not breaking, not cracking up, was actually, it was neither one of those goes. It was me and Kristen Wiig at the beginning of Bridesmaids.
Nice.
When I'm making, because most of it's improv and we're going back and forth, and we were punchy. It was late in the day. I think it was literally the last day of shooting. Literally everybody on the set just wanted to go home, and we could not get through that goofy sex scene without cracking each other up. And it was I think it exists online. They might have taken the outtakes and put them on YouTube or something, but I just remember laughing so hard my stomach hurt, laughing so hard and then getting so embarrassed because all anybody wanted to do was literally leave. It was like 8 o'clock on a Sunday. It was like, guys, can we just go home? But Galifianakis is probably a really close second. His sense of humor and how good he is at coming up with the most random improvs in the world is pretty spectacular.
I like a good Wikipedia deep dive, and I don't think these are, but it's related. So I had Colton Wong on TV last night, and he just retired, lives in Hawaii, and on Wikipedia it says he used to practice his swing by using an axe to cut down trees, that it was his dad's idea, and I thought, this is so random. It can't be true. He said, oh, it's true. But for John, there's a couple out there. Your agents didn't want you to do Top Gun 2 because they didn't think it was a big enough role. And also, Gone Girl, you were supposed to be the Ben Affleck character. Are both of those correct?
Yeah. I mean, it's supposed to. That's obviously a pretty arbitrary thing. But I was pretty well down the line with Fox and the studio that was making it. And I never got to meet David Fincher, but his the line was that he won't engage with you unless he knows you're available. And I'd gone back and forth to Lionsgate and to AMC and all the powers that be with that then to say, hey, could we maybe find some wiggle room in the schedule so I can make this movie before we do I think it was season 6 or season 7 of the show. And they said, yeah, sure, we can try to do it. And they tried to move all the chess pieces around the board, but it turns out they just couldn't do it. So I ended up making a great film, and I ended up working with Rosamund Pike later on a film called Beirut, which people should check out. It's a great movie. Yeah, so it goes. That's our business. There's only so many days in the week, and it's hard for people to be in two places at once.
Cousin John says you have to ask Jon Hamm about fantasy football. He's in this league in L.A., and if you win, you get to kick somebody out of the league.
Oh, nice.
Yes, that is very true. That is a league that was started by, people probably know him as Cousin Sal, Jimmy Kimmel's cousin Sal Iacono, who's a bit of a figure himself. And we are a group of folks. Bill Simmons is in that league. He talks about it on his podcast a lot. It's a group of guys that all know each other fairly well through Jimmy. And I got invited one year. I got kicked out one year. I won one year. We kicked out Dave Damashek, who's on the NFL Network, one year. It's a very, very fun league, and it's talk about anxiety-inducing, and it's very nervous because you find out who gets kicked out at the draft. You bring all your stuff, you get all your materials ready, and somebody goes home very disappointed about 20 minutes later.
Kind of cruel. I like that plan, though. Relegate.
Cool.
How have you...
relegation.
So there's backstory for the team here. There's a group text that Joe Buck and Jon Hamm were introduced via Joe. Joe is the coordinating producer on this segment.
Tip of the cap.
And Joe says in the text, Martin, you give this number to anyone, I kill you. And he goes, and I don't mean my number. You've already given that to people. So he meant John's. So we had this back and forth. And then Joe said, Martin, you need to understand Jon is the real deal. He said, I know a lot of Hollywood people. And then my sister, I told her, because she loves Jon Hamm, she said, oh, you have to ask him about Red's Diner in Calgary. We were up there. My sister married a guy from Calgary, and they're at this Red's Diner, and they said, where are you from? Oh, St. Louis. They said, oh, Jon Hamm was here all the time during Fargo.
That's right.
He couldn't be the nicer person. So I'm curious, how do you maintain a level of normalcy when it is all happening fast and there's money and fame?
I got to say, in Calgary, it's pretty easy. First of all, Red's Diner, shout out. If anybody is in Calgary, there's a little town called Kensington in Calgary. It's right on Main Strip there. It's a great little diner. I pretty much went there every day for breakfast that I wasn't working. It's a great little spot. Food's really good. It was walking distance from my house. If I had chores to do, I could go do my grocery shopping, all on the way. A great little spot. And it's super, super nice, friendly staff, and I was a restaurant guy when I worked back in Cardinals in St. Louis back in the 90s, and I always appreciate restaurant staff, and I know how hard it is to do that stuff, and it's really, really nice. This is a great it's a great spot. So thanks to whoever that was who reminded me of that.
Yeah, my sister said you got to ask Red's Diner because they love Jon Hamm in Calgary. So shout out to my sister. Yes.
Very nice, very nicely done. So yeah, Calgary is pretty nice, and I think mostly people are in my experience, are pretty respectful. If you show people respect, they tend to give it back to you. Look now, sometimes you can get people who maybe are a little boozed up or whatever they want to do, or sometimes that'll happen, but that happens anyway. You just, if you kind of go about your business and if you just living your life, most people treat you that way, and that was certainly the case for me with most of those folks in Calgary. I just go up in there, sit at the counter there, and have breakfast and be friendly. And it's Canada, that they're kind of friendly is their motto. It's especially in Alberta, the western provinces, people are pretty down to earth. So I had a great time making Fargo. It was not easy. It was very, very cold. But I met some really nice folks up there.
Hey, Jon, we get a lot of texts during the program. Doug, I know you love when I read some of the texts to our guests.
Well, not always.
Especially an A-list caliber. I mean, surprise guest here, Martin. This is one for the ages here with Jon Hamm as a surprise guest. Caller Buzz says, Jon, my wife is in love with you and wishes I was you. She says that out loud every Friday. We will watch your friends and neighbors. It's an honor to be made a cuck by you.
Oh, wow.
So
what an honor.
I don't know if you get that a lot, but I wanted to pass that along.
Well, I guess thank you. I'm not sure if that is a compliment, but there are worse things to have to be compared to, I suppose, in a marriage.
Yeah. See, that's a nice text. It was good that we got that. And how about Joe's daughter in your friends and neighbors in the scene with the living nun?
Natalie was great. She was in last week's episode. I hadn't seen. Of course, I've known her since she was an infant. Yeah. So she was great. When Joe told me she was auditioning, I was like, you always say I'll do what I can, but I can't promise anything. And she got the part all on her own. She came in and crushed it. It was fantastic. It really was great to see her. I saw her at the premiere that week that I was telling you about here in New York City, and she's doing great. It's got to be massively amazing for Joe to see that kind of success for his eldest. But I was just as pleased.
Your Friends and Neighbors, Apple TV Plus, episode 8, Tim, I think, drops tonight.
I can't wait.
Apple TV Plus.
The penultimate episode will be on tonight.
So. Penultimate, there you go.
Pride of both Mizzou and John Burroughs, and grew up at the Ted Simmons household. I love that whole... I tried to get Ted to do a segment once, and he said, Martin... I have no interest in talking about anything that hasn't happened yet. And I said, so you mean the past? He goes, correct. And I'm like, but I wanted to talk about you getting into Cooperstown. He said, that's all in the past. And I said, well, then there isn't really anything unless you can see into the future.
Jeff Fisher moving on.
But I will say, now, this is one of the great experiences that I've had, too, because when I was down in Atlanta making Keeping Up with the Joneses, I believe it was, I got a chance to go, or maybe it was Baby Driver, but I got a chance to go see a ball game with Ted. And Ted, I think, was working kind of peripherally is in the scouting department with the Braves or something. I'm not sure, but he happened to be in town, and I got to sit behind the plate with him and listen to him talk while we watched the game. And there's nobody. I don't think there's anybody on the planet that knows baseball better than Teddy Simmons. And he was talking about what pitch is going to come next and what's going to happen, and watch this and look at the second baseman's out position. It was the greatest baseball clinic I ever got to experience. And I've had that in my life since I was 12 years old when I first met his oldest boy, John, at Burroughs. And John was the best man at my wedding. Ted and Rihanna have been dear friends ever since. And there's something to be said for that man's baseball knowledge. I hope the Cardinals keep him close. That's all I'll say.
And a wedding, Tim, in Big Sur, was it at Post Ranch? And the only reason I know this, Dave Murray, our weatherman for years at Fox 2, texts me.
I remember Dave.
And he texts me, he and Janice, his wife, are on vacation. And he said they came down for breakfast, and they're like, who's that guy over there? That guy, was he on Mad Men? And then they look over there like, hey, is that so? All these celebrities. And they're like, what are you guys doing here? They go, oh, it's Jon Hamm's wedding. And Dave Murray goes, I met Jon Hamm. Well, you're not invited, but you don't know it, but he actually was at your wedding. Fun fact.
That's amazing. It wasn't at Post Ranch. A lot of the folks, including myself, stayed at Post Ranch, but it was down the road a little ways at a private residence. But it was really lovely. We got blessed by the weather. It was tremendous. And here we are. It was about 2 years ago. In June. So very excited.
John, I know he's got things to do. How about one? Jackson, I believe our cinephile would. Do you have another question for John?
One more movie nerd question.
Movie nerd. Here we go. Movie nerd
question. You know, obviously, television-wise, Don Draper's an indelible character that will live on forever. But movie-wise, a lot of times you play like agents or authority figures. When you talk about we mentioned The Town, Bad Times at El Royale, which is underrated, Top Gun, Richard Jewell. But when you talked about Baby Driver, you kind of play like a seedy, kind of scummy criminal. Is it kind of nice to break free in movies of having to have a badge on and be kind of seedy and nasty?
Yeah, that was a fun one. I had met Edgar Wright a long time ago. I think I want to say it was maybe the first time I hosted Saturday Night Live, and that was in 2009. And Baby Driver had come out 2016, I want to say, maybe 2017. But we shot it in 2016. So it was incubating for a long time. And Edgar had always thought of me for that part because I had done a read-through of the script a million years ago. And then whoever he had to play the young kid had fallen out. And then, these things, like I said, these things happen. And projects come and projects go. And so something happened in Edgar's schedule, and they said, "Let's do Baby Driver. No one's making this kind of movie," and it really was a unicorn. Movies like Baby Driver that aren't based on a comic book or they aren't based on some previous published piece of IP or something. It was an original script sprung from his mind, and it was really. It was such a fun experience to make, and it was such a fun character to play. And you look at the cast of that movie with Jamie Foxx and Asa and everybody who's now blowing up and doing all their own things. It was truly a one of a kind experience, and just driving around Atlanta at Mach 3 and spinning around, and we'd close down freeways. It was really, really cool, and the kind of thing you just look back and go, man, I had a good time on that one.
Yeah. Jon Hamm, our guest on the show. Thanks for taking the time.
Unbelievable.
Blues talk. By the way, just with him calling in, Barbashev scored a goal somewhere. That's what happens when Jon Hamm. Yeah, when he would sit next to John Kelly, all of a sudden Barbashev would just start scoring goals. Shout out to Red's Diner. We've got shout out to your friends and neighbors on Apple TV Plus. So much fun. John, thanks for doing the show.
Guys, it's my pleasure. Thank you for having me. Let's go Blues. Let's go Cardinals. Here we go. We're getting into the summertime doldrums, but boy, it's going to be fun to watch. And I'll call you a little bit later, and we'll hot stove the Blues come the end of the summer.
God bless.
There you go.
Sounds like
Blues.
a plan.
I'm writing it down, Tim. Hot stove Blues talk.
John, appreciate it, man. Thanks so much for the time this morning.
My pleasure, guys. We'll talk soon.
You. That's Jon Hamm with us as the surprise guest here on the Callier and Thompson phone lines. Jackson.
That was great. That was great.
Jackson. Yeah,
I didn't want him to know because I knew you'd kind of like the Chris Long. I might geek out. So then we had gone back and forth. I said to John, just say John in New York City. He said, what do I say after that? I said, just say, where's the blues talk?
Yeah, you've worked with pros before.
Yeah.
We're pros. I mean, when it comes to improv.
We're pros.
Thank you very much. Exactly right. Jackson just gave the hang loose sign to Chairman Kurtz.
Yep, the boy signal. Yeah, that was great. Jon Hamm.
I loved your question.
Oh, yeah.
On the not breaking during Between Two Ferns and Curb Your Enthusiasm. That's an outstanding question.
Well, the Between Two Ferns, if you look up the bloopers for Between Two Ferns, Jon Hamm has a couple of them in there, and you can tell he's like, I don't know how I'm going to keep it together. And there's a great scene in Curb where they're having dinner with the late Richard Lewis. And it's a great blooper because none of them can stand it. It's really great. You can tell like these guys just can't hang out and just not laugh like crazy.
The episode where Hamm is on Curb, I've not seen it, but I read that it said he played. I can't even say the word. Ends with whole man or like method man. He plays kind of a jerk, an arrogant actor.
And
is
he
that
was
kind of
studying Larry to kind of be a method
actor. Was it a shot at Daniel Day-Lewis? I don't know.
It always is.
Is it?
Or Jeremy Strong, really.
You got a compliment from Sharon and Clayton. Fabulous guest, Martin. Hall of Fame. Well done. Boy, to get that from Sharon and Clayton.
Thank you, Sharon. We're now aligned.
Hey, Johnny, glad to see you finally made it. Stay in touch when back home. Go Bombers. That's from the self-made, stay-at-home Ledoux mom. Great to have her. Of course, I gather she knows John from being in the moneyed communities in St. Louis.
Could be. I see he played football, baseball, and swimming at Burroughs. Not hockey. I thought maybe he was a hockey player.
Your nemesis, Kwame Voyukas IV, says 9.5 out of 10. Good job, Martin. So you couldn't get it to 10.
Would Jim Cruz be a 10?
Short Air Jet
Dwayne Evans would be a 10.
Troy Robertson were to call in. 10. Jon Hamm, the surprise guest. They're celebrating in the text inbox the demise of the YouTube chat, which was making fun of a variety of, they thought it would be Keith Kachuk again or something like that. And then they've all gone silent in the YouTube chat. They're saying, I guess we'll have to check out what's going on in the Michelob Ultra YouTube chat. YouTube.com/TMASTL. You can listen to it on the Schaefer Door Company podcast. Jon Hamm with us for about 25 minutes here on TMA. Got the drops of the week coming up. Got Joey Vitale coming up. And got the Design, Air, Heating, and Cooling email today coming up. This is TMA, presented to you by Brown & Crouppen on 101 ESPN. The name of the game is supporting the sponsors of TMA, and Stewie is a sponsor who couldn't make himself more accessible. He gives out his personal cell phone, 314-324-4440. So if you are looking to buy a home or refinance, if you're looking to consolidate some of your ugly credit card debt, Stewie can help you. 314-324-4440, or you can Google the Bagel Loan. Stewie joins us right now. Stewie, the name of the game, being creative.
That's right, Tim. And so we had a customer in ESPN and TMA, but he likes TMA better than the fast lane. How do you like that? So he calls me up and he says to me, hey, my wife is self-employed. She's got marginal credit. I don't have enough income to qualify for the loan myself. What can we do? So what we did was we had him refinance 2 of his cars in his wife's name. We completely ignored the wife. She's not on the loan at all. It's going to be sad if she kicks him out and he's the only one on the loan. He's going to have to pay it, but in the situation for another time. And we were able to close the loan just on his income after he refinanced the cars in her name. So sometimes you got to be a little bit creative in moving the debts around to be able to qualify under one person, give them the best rate. We got it done in 10 days with the bagel loan. It was easy and simple. They couldn't believe that we got it done that quick. And that's the name of the game, and they got the house of the dreams.
How about that? Stewie can make that happen for you. 314-324-4440. That's his personal cell phone, 314-324-4440. Or you can Google the Bagel Loan. It's Stewie with Stewart's American Mortgage. Thanks, Stewie. Have a great Memorial Day weekend.
Have a great weekend, guys.
He went Material Girl, Doug, on the Madonna play.
Okay, that's fine. That's
Mount
okay
Rushmore
by
of
me.
Madonna songs. Go.
Well, probably her 4 best, I would say, would be your Mount Rushmore.
Like a Virgin's got to be on there.
I like a Vogue, kind of a
Holiday,
dancey, in honor of Red
she
Jacket.
Do Borderline was that
She
her
did.
song?
Look
Yeah,
at you. I think that was her first top 10 hit.
Yeah, that's one I like.
I like that Ray of Light, kind of random.
I bet you hung out with her when you were down in Miami.
Oh, we were tight. You kidding me?
Knew it. See, Martin?
Yes.
I think Into the Groove's my favorite.
How about that?
Wasn't she a New Yorker? She didn't grow up in Miami.
I think she's
did she?
from like Michigan, actually.
We'll take
Maybe
your
the Detroit
Madonna
area. Yeah, we'll
calls.
take it. We will take fresh off the Jon Hamm interview. We now go to Madonna conversation.
Madonna's next. We don't have Madonna?
She's from Bay City, Michigan.
Oh,
Where
moved
the
to New
Bay
York in
City Rollers
78.
were from.
Yes.
But 314-974-0101. You can be the next one after Jon Hamm on the Collier and Thompson phone lines. Martin, surprise guest for the ages. Joe Buck was listening to the conversation.
He enjoyed it, absolutely. As it was beginning, he goes, how do I stream the show? I'm like, that's disappointing. I just assumed Joe had been streaming for years.
So I know he's been out of town. And when I saw Natalie on Your Friends and Neighbors, there's a scene with Olivia Munn, for those of you who watch that show. And God, a lot of people clearly do. Have you watched it, Martin?
I have not.
You will love it. If you and Kim trust me now after the Bin Laden recommendation, Your Friends and Neighbors is so damn good. Chairman, you're watching it?
I'm not completely caught up, but I think I'm maybe back one episode. But
so
yeah, it's
damn
great.
good.
I read the premise, right? It was a hedge fund guy, loses money.
It's
And then,
just-
is it comedy?
Yeah, it's like dark comedy.
Okay.
I mean, it's so damn good. So I saw Natalie pop up in there, and she has a scene with Olivia Munn, who's in it, along with, obviously, Jon Hamm. Doug, I know you're a big Corbin Burnson guy. He played Arnie on L.A. Law. He also was the third baseman who didn't really want to get dirty in Major League.
Right.
Had a nice solarium, though, in that scene.
Wonderful solarium.
I'd like to watch this show, Your Friends and Neighbors, but are there any pee-pee words in there?
Hopefully.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, I got to be honest with you. It's quite a cuck-sitch.
Oh, is it really?
It's quite a cuck-sitch.
Okay.
And
Chairman's nodding. Quite a
realized
cuck-sitch.
we went there in the interview. You brought up the cuck situation.
Of course.
I should have asked Ham if he felt he got cucked by Gruden, because Mike Caruso all of a sudden is like, I got a new John that I'm palling around with.
Boy, this generous executive Caruso.
He moved on to a different Jon, which may or may not have been part of the group text with Joe, and then I sent a photo of Gruden and Caruso together. And
and Ham was pretty pissed, I bet?
I don't think he cared, but it would have been, might have been fodder.
I ran into Rafe from The Riz Show, and as you know, we're in the midst of these heated radio wars. We're at war with the Fast Lane. We were at war with The Riz Show. And I saw Rafe in the break room during the commercial break, and I said, I understand, based on some texts that were sent in, some of our listeners who listen to both our show and The Riz Show, that, Doug, they got into cuck talk
Did they?
on The Riz Show. Okay. And Rafe told me that he and Learn are in full support of hot wifing, and Riz and King Scott and Moon are anti-hot wifing and cuckoldry. And I said, what's the difference? And he said, well, we don't have time. So they also don't necessarily understand.
Don't know the definitions of these things.
But it was wonderful to have that conversation, and at least they acknowledge, candidly, they're stealing our material. Cardinals are taking Youngry Birds, Riz Show taking cuckoldry. Who's next? This show, we're Lewis and Clark in broadcasting in St. Louis.
What is a cuck?
See?
They better not infringe on Release the Hoosier. They better leave that alone. Leave that alone.
You need to get that trademarked stat.
That's right. So is there a difference between hot wifing and cuckoldry?
Clip that off. And we'll take your calls. 314-974-0101. And, of course, you can text in at 314-399-9646. And then you got that Design Air Heating and Cooling email of the day. Guys, this is going to be a real letdown when Jeff Fisher is the surprise guest next week. That's from the 314. Martin, isn't it tough? I mean, you go out, you bring in Jon Hamm, and now they're like, well, what's next?
You know what? Don't care.
I'd love
Don't
Jeff
care.
Fisher.
Yeah, and Fisher would be great.
Yeah. Who's that person?
There's a lot to talk about. And he can also tell you that you can lose but not win. Even though that's not his drop, it sounds like him.
Your show is an effing joke, and Tim is a real-life cuck!
Oh.
That's from the 314.
God, and they screamed it like that, did they?
You just knocked Casey off the
air. Does anyone else find effing cuss words offensive? That's from the professor. You see what's going on there, Martin? Does
anybody else? Okay, yes.
Well, sure, some people do.
Doug, always good to see you. It's better to look at you from behind.
Oh, come on, Jay.
I concur with Tim. Friends and Neighbors is awesome. That's Sharon and Clayton. How about Sharon and Clayton? She's with Martin. She's with me, Doug. I mean, maybe she really is going to be the star of this Real Housewives of TMA. She shows her range.
Yeah. Here's what you do.
Her range.
Here's what you do. Cardinals Diamondbacks tonight on Apple TV. You watch another Cardinal victory.
Wow.
City Connects, looking beautiful on Apple TV. And then you just fire up your Friends and Neighbors right after that, episode 1. Now you got yourself a nice little Friday night.
What about the Battlehawks?
Yeah, on Fox, too. And I've got a pregame.
Second TV,
I
Fox
actually
2.
forgot. I got a pregame show at 6:30, but I'll be recording.
Is it in the can?
What if I was at home and went, oh, my God, I'm supposed to be at the Dome? No, I'm kidding. Of course, 6:30 pregame coverage begins against the San Antonio Brahmas. Live 6:30 to 7 at the Dome. I'll be recording all the other stuff. I suggest you do the same.
We should record our own stuff?
Yeah, record the other shows. Tune in.
So you can
Thank
catch
you,
it live.
Kurt.
Oh, wow.
Watch
That's not a bad strategy. Coming up, it is the drops of the week. Joey Vitale, 10 o'clock, Design, Air, Heating, and Cooling email of the day. This is TMA, presented by Brown and Crouppen on 101 ESPN and the TMA STL YouTube channel.
Schnooks likes to get involved and help out the community. We had the recent diaper drive for the St. Louis Crisis Nursery. They get behind efforts like that, but also daily savings. They drop prices on over 2,300 items. They got together and said, can we drop prices on more? And they have. So throughout the store, whatever you're looking for, make out your list and you look around the store. I'll bet you something on that list has been marked down. They're not doing this as a sale. These are prices they're saying. These are moving forward. The new price, saving you money, reducing prices. You're not hearing a lot of that right now in the grocery world. Schnucks doing their best to help you save money when you're at the store. Make sure you've got the app, the rewards app. That way you accumulate points every time you check out. So you're saving money and also earning some money back, cash back, just by shopping at Schnucks. Your neighborhood-friendly store now offering everyday savings. You also have those digital shelf tags throughout the store to let you know what else has been marked down. Great savings every day at your neighborhood Schnucks.
Doug, Jackson's music theme here on Friday, May 23rd, 2025, is artists using one single name. Nelly, Madonna, and we opened with Darnell Coles.
Prince, right, Party Man.
Of all Prince selections, that was unique.
Party Man was made for the 1989 Batman with Michael Keaton and Jack Nicholson. And when Jack's like destroying the museum, the art museum, Party Man's playing, and I really like that.
There you go. There's the reasoning.
Okay.
Goes back to cinema.
Always does. Jon Hamm, our guest, surprise guest, and Martin just kind of dunking on some of the friends of the program, Doug, with the Jon Hamm surprise guest here earlier in our Fisher Window and Door Store 8 o'clock hour. That would be recommended listening to go back and podcast via the Schaefer Door Company podcast on TMA. Coming up on our Callier and Thompson phone lines, Joey Vitale will be with us. That is on the Stiefel dossier, along with the Design Air Heating and Cooling email of the day. But right now, we celebrate the week that was and appreciate how great we are by listening to the drops of the week.
Morning After.
Drops of the week.
Yeah, you gotta drop it like a hot dog.
It's a wonderful drop.
Indeed it is.
Flip that off. Flip that off. Flip that off. Flip that off.
Flip that off.
I said the wrong thing to Mo, and then he told me to go away for a couple years and come back.
You want to punish him now? I am a bad boy, and I'm testing things.
What makes you so passionate is what makes you so good at what you do, Doug.
Because I don't really care for Duck.
Got like a mustache like his.
You're really naughty with that one.
Oh, good question, Dex.
Not a comfier job in sports than a media person in a locker room nowadays.
I'm going to bet you they're going to try to slip a thigh in you.
I knew it was coming.
But anyhow, the Cardinals are doing great. I love them. Jesus.
That was drops of the week.
Every sport covered there at the end with the sounder.
Right.
Wow. Did that please you?
Fireworks show.
I just had Jackson's dad, who's actually no longer known as Jackson's dad, is Barge Guy. I just sensed it, Tim. Some Rudy vibes there a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Just kind of even had that. And I know some of it's not necessarily that they're related, but maybe similar habits. And it had a little bit of a Rudy. I love that Lance Lynn stuff, too. Basically said Mo told him to beat it, more or less.
He did indeed. Drops of the week here on the program. You're welcome to participate. So many different ways to do so. Michelob Ultra YouTube chat, active as the day is long. I see Iggy. I did the first thing I saw when I went to the Michelob Ultra YouTube chat, where 269 friends have gathered. He said Gaga. He's talking Lady Gaga in there. You can talk Lady Gaga with Iggy at youtube.com/TMASTL. Now 271 friends. 2 more people rushed in once they knew they could talk Lady Gaga in the YouTube chat, youtube.com/TMASTL. That's brought to you by Michelob Ultra. And, of course, you can text into the program 314-399-9646. That's a way to participate in the program. Doug, the Cardinals and the Katie Wu article, something we talked about in the 7 o'clock hour. One of the things that they're trying to feel out is how to handle the year with business side. That's what the article is about. That's recommended reading in The Athletic. But then they also have the baseball side to figure out. And on MLB tonight, former general manager Dan O'Dowd has a trade that he would like to see. It involves Nolan Arenado and a Cardinal rival.
A deal that I think should happen, maybe should happen, will never happen, is Arenado going to the Cubs.
Cards and Cubs, let's go.
Exactly. Yeah. They don't make many deals. And I think, Matt Shaw's a good player. The one thing Matt can't compete with, when you look at the Cubs right now, with Swanson and Horner up the middle, they're elite defensively. Even though his run production may not be the same, he's still the elite defender that he is at third base. And I think a change of scenery for Nolan would be very good for him. So I do think the Cubs at some point in time may consider addressing that position. There'll be other third basemen available, but I had Arenado going to the Cubs, knowing that's never going to happen.
He had a good start the first couple weeks of the season. Now he's been slumping so much, he went to his manager and said, move me down the lineup. He's willingly hitting 6th, hoping to turn things around.
It also tells you who he is.
winning player. He understands what's happening, right? It's not about me.
Yeah, I don't think the Cardinals, I actually think the Cardinals by playing Gordman and Segisi at third base are actually, it's better for what they're trying to do long term.
Base hit.
We got to solve this Segisi thing for MLB Network, okay?
Tough name.
Segisi. Thomas Segisi.
But how can you say, I've got Arenado going to the Cubs in a deal I know will never happen? What kind of comment is that?
Well, that's the industry. The Cubs winning yesterday, by the way. And so the Cardinals now 3 out heading into this weekend.
The cut line here in the dossier, which is fluid. I saw Joey Vitale's hit time change right before my eyes.
See, it's a living, breathing document. Doug, appreciate the Steve dossier.
Breathing.
But it does say on MLB Tonight, former GM Dan O'Dowd details a trade he wants to see. So I guess he's saying, I know it'll never happen, but it'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
Chances that the Cards would trade Arenado to the Chicago Cubs. Is it 0? Point?
I mean, it obviously depends on where they are standings-wise.
No, but it's the Cubs. You're
Cardinals made 2 of their best trades ever with the Cubs.
Yeah.
Lou Brock and Bruce Sutter.
Yeah.
They don't make many deals with them.
So we owe them?
Mostly
they
the
feel
Guardians.
that way.
Mostly a deadline deal with the Guardians. Pitcher for pitcher.
A lot of those.
Chuck Finley.
Yeah. Chris Perez in there somewhere.
Well, the Cardinals are about to hit a really tough stretch of their schedule. Really tough. Arizona's good. Baltimore's having a down year, but we thought they were going to be pretty good.
Dead cat bounce after the manager fired.
Texas is okay. Kansas City's good. The Dodgers, of course. That's a long stretch of games against good teams.
But what if they can just get hot?
If we can just get hot, we can win this baby. Make no mistake about that. But by the time this stretch is done, early June, I think we'll know more. Is this a real contender, or we just tease there for a while?
Are you a Flag Day guy, Doug? June 14th, Flag Day.
Klebs.
Yeah, that's a pretty good barometer. Yeah.
What do you think, Kleb? I don't know, man. Ask me about Flag Day. Got to get to Flag Day. So 1 year on the show, was that Charlie Marlowe with Tim? Was that the midday grind?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's it.
We were having a debate about June 14th, maybe Chris Gardner, whether it was
Senator.
Whether it was truly a barometer for teams, because we always joked about Flag Day. So I texted Mozeliak. I said, hey, just a weird question. Do you guys look at Flag Day, June 14th? And he said, the quick answer is no, but also kind of busy. It's the draft. It was the day of the MLB draft. So if they botched the pick, that year, God, that might have been 2018. Gorman might be my fault. Okay, never mind.
No coming back if you trade Arenado to the Cubs, especially when you're contending with them for the division. How would you ever convince fans to come back? That's from the 314.
Yeah, a lot of truth to that. That would not go over well with the fan base at all.
You want to improve attendance at Busch? Yeah, send Nato to the Cubs. Busch would burn if they did that. Or maybe Mo could do that as his final move and a big FU to all his haters. If it happens, I'll send my Nato jersey to my friend who's a Cubs fan right after I use it to pick up the dog poop in my yard.
What's to hate?
Right.
I think, and maybe I'm missing an obvious one, but I feel like the last time, there was real hatred that existed between fan bases and the teams. Anybody want to take a guess on this one?
Blues and Blackhawk fans used to mix it up at the arena a little bit.
Yeah, that absolutely happened. But I'm talking Cardinals.
Was it Brewers with Niger Morgan and like the teams kind of got sideways, but fan base
predates that.
Okay, can we have initials on this?
Cardinals Reds. Whoever said that, was that you?
Yeah. The whole brawl.
Yeah. And then it kind of got followed up when Castellanos kind of stood over Jake Woodford a couple of years ago. If you remember that.
Yeah, plate to plate.
Yeah.
Man, I think that was legit. And then you can go back to when it was Dusty and La Russa in 2003, and they were throwing at each other, and they're screaming at each other.
Dusty flipped the bird across. I miss those days.
I love when they used to just bicker at each other.
And Dusty had batting gloves on because you need to as a manager.
Him and Ron Washington always in batting gloves.
And you need spikes, too, like Jim Leland. Manager,
if you're going to steal spikes, dart in the dugout, you need.
But there was with the Reds, like with Dusty, it was like real, like Tony and him, like just did not like each other, and you could tell, and that was great.
I think if you live in Illinois, and in particular, that kind of central section of Illinois, the rivalry is a little more intense. Same thing I say with regard to Missouri and Kansas. On the St. Louis side, don't get me wrong, Jackson's a St. Louis and he hates Kansas. But if you grew up in Kansas City or on the western side of the state and went to Missouri, there's a good chance that you hate Kansas a hell of a lot more than people on this side of the state do. And I think that kind of plays away into the Cardinal Cub thing.
I think for there to be any real hate, there has to be a player or a coach on the other team that you hate. Just to hate the uniform, that's a laundry issue. But if there's a player that has really done something to your team, then it's easier to hate them.
And the Mets and Cardinals, that wasn't geographic or anything like that, but that's because they were both battling at the time. And in 2003, the Cardinals and Cubs were battling. That was the Cardinals' time, 2000, 2001, 2002, 2004, 2005, 2006. But there was that 1 year, and it was with the Cubs in 2003. That was the Bartman year, Doug.
Who is it on the Cubs now that you would hate? Is there anything about the Cubs that you really hate?
Some people don't like Pete Crow Armstrong because of his hair. But he's an outstanding ball player.
He is.
I used to fear that Aramis Ramirez.
Yeah.
Every time he came up, he would
when
rake.
Zambrano enjoyed throwing pitches at people.
Yeah, he sure did. And he could rake, though. Soriano.
Zambrano raked?
I thought, didn't he have like a big home run against the Cardinals?
I think as a pitcher, he was a good hitter.
Yeah, that's why. When Soriano went over and made a bunch of money from the Cubs, I remember that was kind of like fun. But I was really young.
But when Sammy Sosa was running around, I mean, it was impossible to dislike Sammy Sosa.
Sure.
I'm from Macomb, and the Cardinals-Cubs hatred is as real as conservatives and liberals. That's from the St. Charles Illini.
Really? I can see enjoying the rivalry. I can't see hating the other team.
Right.
I don't know what they've done to make you hate them.
There was a picture on X last night that the Rockies team store at Coors Field was selling jerseys, and it said, the only problem here is the player Rogers plays for the Houston Astros. So they're selling other teams' players' jerseys.
Martin, I'm sure you were surprised to see the Phillies and Rockies in a getaway day game yesterday play a 2-0 game that went pretty quickly, actually. 2 hours and 10 minutes for that one out there. Rockies didn't put up much of a fight in that festivity. And, Doug, now they have played 50 games, and they have won 8.
Oh, yeah. Worst start since 1895.
How about that?
That's rough. That's really rough.
Bud Blacksing, thank you. Thank you for firing me. You still owe me $150,000 a month because you're paying me close to $2 million a year. I'm good. Gosh,
I really think there are some AAA teams that could do better than 8-42.
Yeah, 8 wins in 50 games is just brutal.
Yeah, there are some teams that would have some decent pitchers at AAA that could get you more than 8 wins out of 50 games.
That's rough.
With no indication. It is. We were talking about sports gambling in Missouri, and I saw a text within the last couple of days like this is costing people in Missouri the ability to just bet against the Rockies. The issue is you have to pay a price to bet it. I mean, you're probably betting like $250 to win $100, but that's about as blue chip as it gets in gambling. I mean, this group has no chance. Mm-hmm. They don't have much. The fact that they held the Phillies yesterday to 2 runs might be a reflection more of the Phillies going, okay, we got a couple. Let's get the hell out of here. And we got to go off on a road trip. I think they're over in Sacramento this weekend. But the Rockies just have zero chance. I mean, 8-42. You said 1895. That is the worst start?
They're 23 games out of first on the 23rd of May. That's probably never happened before.
To have the worst record, fewest regular season wins, the Colorado Rockies are minus 2,500. The White Sox are plus 240.
With that.
So, but I mean, could there be a safer bet than the Rockies finishing with the least regular season wins?
I feel pretty good about it.
Yeah, I mean,
I look at the lineup and I don't recognize people.
No. They're on a pace to lose 136 games.
As bad as the White Sox are, they have almost twice as many wins as the Rockies. The White Sox are 15-35, and that's dreadful. But because of the Rockies, it looks like
it's okay. Louisville Colonel started 7-43 back in 1895.
What was going on there?
I don't know. They just couldn't get the big hit.
Was there exit? Was the exit velo launch angle an issue?
I wonder how hard they were throwing in 1895, the pitchers. I bet it was 70-something miles an hour, I think.
Here you go, fella. Here you go. Try and hit it. We'll
About like
run it
what
down.
you'd see at a high school game today, probably. About like that.
Joey Vitale will be joining us coming up at 10 o'clock. That's the Stiefel dossier. And then we've got the Design Air Heating and Cooling email of the day. That's all coming your way here on The Morning After. It's presented to you by Brown & Crouppen 101 ESPN.
Hey, this is Jackson with a Sports Center update. That's brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. Looking at the playoffs, ice hockey playoffs, that is. The Panthers defeat the Hurricanes last night 5-0. That makes 14 straight conference finals losses for the Carolina Hurricanes. More NHL playoff action on tonight here on 101 ESPN as the Stars take on the Oilers for Game 2. Pre-game at 6:30, puck drop at 7. That was our Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, a Daikin heating and air conditioning dealer.
Doug Jackson's theme today again. Artists
with one name.
With one name.
Yeah, one name artist.
Mm-hmm. Let's circle back to Dido, who was on the show.
Oh, wow. Maybe she'll be coming up. Maybe you'll do that for Joey Vitale. I know he loves Dido.
Yeah. You know what Cher's real last name is? Anybody?
Coles?
Sarkeesian.
Oh, like Steve?
Sherilyn Sarkeesian.
Is she Armenian?
Sounds like it.
I listened to her interview once with Howard Stern. Really good.
Yeah, that was recent.
Yeah, pretty recent.
Wow, self-made stay-at-home Ledoux mom and Sharon and Clayton, Doug, kind of warring factions, which I think will lead to success for your program, The Real Housewives of TMA.
Mm-hmm.
But this is a peace offering. Hey, Sharon, I know you're bored. Would you like to interview as my charcuterie intern this summer?
It's a charcuterie intern?
A whole month on goat cheese.
So there's a full-time charcuterist, and they need an intern?
Was a
just
thing.
For fine meats and cheeses?
It was a thing, man. There was a run there right after the pandemic.
A run on what?
Like customizable or handmade charcuterie boards that you'd pay a premium for.
And people would get excited with little cheese balls
they'd like
and
spell
things
their
put
names out with the prosciutto and
that needs to stop.
Pepper jellies and other stuff.
And Jackson tells me that's a real thing.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I can show you an Instagram account if you like.
Like, is this like a lady in St. Louis, or is this like a...
Yeah.
And she's really into it.
I don't know if... I just remember seeing it. I don't even remember the person. I don't even know if I know the person, but I did see it.
You don't even know who you are anymore.
I never know who I am.
Jackson is alleged to be the man behind the St. Louis Starter Packs Instagram account, which, for my money, next to Ella Reese's account, is the best account on Instagram. And today's theme is 2025 Memorial Day weekend at the Lake Starter Pack. And Doug, Jackson, you're going to get getting a lot of DMs after this one today. There's a tattoo of what looks like a flying insect on the lower back of a lass in the water.
Yeah.
Some bad tan lines.
Yeah, that's real.
Some flags on boats. Gather what those are. And then a phone and rice.
That's my favorite.
And so if you drop your phone in the lake, you put it in rice and it saves the day?
It's supposed to soak
It's
up,
amazing how
absorb
it
the
works.
water. Yeah, it does.
Absolutely amazing.
Yeah, it usually does work.
So you've used it and it saved the day?
Yeah. Yeah.
It can salvage. If it gets completely submerged, obviously your phone can take some water, but that's
Who
a very
figured
funny.
that out, though? If you just throw
Starter packs
throw
did.
it in rice, it'll absorb the water, take the water right out of the electrical device. I mean, who figured that out? 'Cause
Scientists.
it actually works.
Probably scientists, if I had to guess.
Probably a kid
Yeah, maybe.
on TikTok.
Yeah.
Sharon and Clayton has declined the offer of the charcuterie intern. No thanks. I'm not into processed meats and cheeses, so it would be hard to fake pimp them to your multiple divorced friends.
Oh.
Sharon and Clayton has issued a
Gosh, she's saying anything
response to
about
the
fake.
self-made.
She's sassy, this one.
That's right. Producer's just ham.
There's nothing fake about Mad Dog's takes.
There you go.
What do we have here, Jackson?
He wasn't happy about a number of things, including Tyrese Halliburton doing the choke sign a la Reggie Miller, and then he wasn't happy that Reggie Miller was
Big
even...
night tonight at the Garden.
He wasn't even happy that Reggie Miller was on the call. Take a listen, Doug.
Halliburton does what Halliburton does. I don't need the choke sign. That's a disgrace. You don't need that, especially when he doesn't win the game with it. I mean, geez, the guy didn't even realize there's a chance his foot was on the line. And for him to act like that because Reggie Miller, and you can make a case that Reggie shouldn't even be in a broadcast booth when it comes to Indiana Pacer Conference basketball, championship level basketball. He shouldn't even be in a game. You can make that point. Now, listen, Aikman does Cowboy games. So, I mean, a lot of announcers players broadcast their teams, their own teams, big moments. Smoltz does Brave games. I go get 1,000 examples. Sims did Giant games.
Okay.
But still, it's almost like the Pacers and Knicks. Reggie's renowned because of beating the Knicks. It's the symmetry is that connected. And of course, seeing Halliburton do exactly what Reggie did in '95, a series of which Indiana eventually won, when Reggie scored 8 points in the last 9 seconds, two threes and 2 free throws, was a little rough to take. Reggie got pounded for doing it at the time, and he came out in game 2 and stunk up the joint. And I believe that Reggie apologized during the week for acting like that. He did the choke sign to Spike Lee. Halliburton's not going to do that. It's a different era. Players think they can get away with, crazy things today. So I don't, and the younger fan base kind of likes it. I don't think anybody's going to give him a hard time. They did in '95. Reggie got a pounding in '95.
Well,
nice bucket.
And then he was just getting going.
Yeah.
That was sort of stumbles in and out of an opinion guy. He didn't want him calling the game, but then again, Aikman did those Cowboy games. Sims did the Giants games, and then he went back to, but it was just different because Reggie and the hatred with the Knicks. I actually think he believes all of his takes, whereas some of these guys, I think, do invent them. I think Mad Dog. I think Mad Dog actually believes that whatever he's saying, he really believes.
Reggie got pounded.
Jackson, would you release a 5-star play on the Knicks winning?
Wow. Maybe not 5-star. They have to win tonight. Pacers were going into that first game just to try to wear them out, exhaust them, be like, if you're going to win 4 games, you're going to have to earn it. And then they stole a win. So, yes, I would release a 4-star play.
Doug, it's been just released by Jackson Burkett as a 4-star play for the Knicks over the Pacers tonight. For the record, that's minus 260 on the money line.
Really?
The Yankees are minus 295 on the money line tonight in Denver against the Rockies.
A little Burrows special.
I didn't like the choke sign either, though.
You were offended?
Well, I wasn't offended, but I didn't like it. The Knicks didn't choke.
Did you call Greg Vaughn and say, "Are you watching this? I want to talk to you, son."
No. And this is the first time I'm discussing it, actually. The Knicks didn't choke. Aaron Nesmith hit 8 out of 9 3-pointers. The Pacers just got red hot. That's not a team choking. That's the other team just getting hot so they can win the baby.
They missed some free throws late, but yeah, I wouldn't. That was a Pacer comeback, not a Knicks collapse. I would agree with you there.
Yeah,
your boy Halliburton's a great player, but I would say it's game 1. Let's just win the series.
And then he had that in the holster the moment they knew they were taking on the Knicks.
It seemed prepared.
Meanwhile, in what Jackson in the Sports Center update called ice hockey, Doug, you're not going to be happy with this. The fans in Carolina, they were not pleased with what they saw last night in what probably felt a little bit like a must-win situation against Matthew Tkachuk and the Panthers. Take a listen to what was doing in Raleigh as they were getting rocked.
His bench, heading to the locker room with the Hurricanes.
Hit the goalpost. Oh, well, boo-hoo. You're down 3-0 after 1, so you're going to boo your team that's in the conference finals. Give me a break.
Martin, they're on a bit of a conference final losing streak.
14 in a row.
That means is unbelievable.
I don't think that gets talked about enough, even on the NHL shows. That means the last 3 times they were in the conference final, they got swept.
That is, and including they would have been the Blues' opponent in 2019, but the Bruins clipped them.
That's hard to do.
Yeah,
but you'd like to get an advantage from your fans when you play at home, wouldn't you? Would you like your fans to pick you up instead of boo you on the way out?
Do you think it had something to do with the shot total after that first period being so low?
Whatever. You don't boo your team.
I'm with you.
Coach, you're attracted to Rod Brindamore, but might not be in your top 5 much longer.
Oh, you're a front runner, eh?
It's just trending down.
You can't say that when he's a Lindy Ruff guy.
That's right.
What do we have here?
Yeah, this is Rod the Bod about the mentality of the team.
No, I don't think that. I think, obviously we got to just figure out how to win a period. I think we came out with the right intentions, but it was trying to do too much. And then we're not doing the things that we do as a team that normally helps us. I didn't know what I was watching in the first period, and that didn't go well.
Hit the goalpost.
In that spot, when you lose at home in game one, and you know what the situation is, if you're going down 2-0, going down to Sunrise for games 3 and 4, you would expect that you're going to be on point from the get-go, and instead that was what we heard, the booing from the fans after they were down 3-0, and they only got 17 shots on goal, tied for the third fewest in the franchise's Stanley Cup playoff history, hence the booing. Jordan Stahl said, tonight was not great. We're going to have to own a crappy game. So the Panthers are 2 wins away from returning. And, Doug, are we going to get a rematch, or are we going to get the Stars in there?
I think we're going to get the Stars in there.
Yeah.
Well, they scored 5 goals in the third period 2 nights ago.
Maybe ask Draisaitl about the defense.
Yeah, he doesn't.
He's been asked that every day this postseason. So the Panthers, I believe, doing the quick math, are 6-1 since the Federico bump, since Bernie Federico was all over the Panthers.
Wow.
They were down 0-2 to Toronto, win that series in 7 games. Now they win the first 2. So the Panthers, that Stanley Cup DNA. I remember Joey Vitale, we were debating Vegas, and he said whether you wanted to be like the hungry bear or the starving bear. There was all these like weird. I think the bottom line is the Panthers want more, even though they won the Cup last year. They look, and they got a great goalie,
Bob.
Look out for.
The best soundbite you should play is the one where the fans were chanting, "Shoot the puck." The entire arena was screaming it. You can find that clip on Twitter. That's Sharon and Clayton, serving as a coordinating producer.
We have a lot of those.
So one thing I never understand, why hockey players are reluctant to shoot. And then they get behind late in the game, and the announcers will say, well, we got to get a lot of rubber on the net now. Throw anything in the net. Why don't you play the whole game like that? Why wouldn't that be the game plan right from the get-go? Get as many shots on goal as you can. Fight for the rebounds. Traffic in front. Why is that only a thing when you're desperate for a goal?
Doug, what about in the NHL playoffs? Is winning a series a big deal or not?
It is.
More so than
in this case, it is.
Instead of just stacking up wins, they really need to win the series.
That's correct. That is absolutely correct.
If Jarvis could just get it to his forehand and go high glove edge on it, that would have been the play. Fans chanting, shoot the puck. Over 7 shots for Carolina.
How many shots are you passing up before you get that kind of response from your fans?
7 through 2.
God almighty.
I like it. It used to just be a random Hoosier or Doug yelling, shoot the puck.
It's usually, shoot.
Yeah.
And now the whole building. I like that, a coordinated effort.
Yeah, they're not happy in Raleigh. Meanwhile, Joey Vitale will be joining the program coming up at 10 o'clock. Jon Hamm, Martin's surprise guest at 8 o'clock. Miss it. Go back and watch it on YouTube, youtube.com/TMASTL, or you can podcast it on the Dobbs Tire and Auto Center's 101 ESPN app. Also, we have a TMASTL app that you can download. Email in for our Design Air heating and cooling email today, the morning after at InsideSTL.com, coming your way in the 10 o'clock hour along with Joey. The program's called TMA. It is presented to you by Brown and Crouppen on 101 ESPN.
Mid-America St. Louis Airport in Mascoutah, Illinois. Not far at all from downtown St. Louis. That's the place to go for your next trip out of town because you can get to warm spots in sunny Florida year-round. Talking about Fort Myers, Fort Lauderdale, down to Destin. Now Gulf Shores has been added to the mix as well. Allegiant Airlines means it's going to be a great value to you. And because it's Mid-America St. Louis Airport, there's a lot of convenience. You don't get that often when traveling these days. But at Mid-America St. Louis Airport, the parking lot right in front of the terminal, it's less than $10 a day. You walk in, get to the gate. It takes about 15 minutes from car to gate. Think about that math. Get online. FlyMidAmerica.com is the website. Book the flight today to Vegas, Hilton Head, wherever you want to go, vacation, maybe it's a little getaway. Book that flight online, save money, and find out what the convenience is all about at Mid-America. Folks are saying, man, I didn't realize. And the people who go there all the time are saying, shh, don't tell everybody. FlyMidAmerica.com is the website to find out more about Mid-America St. Louis Airport.
Doug, is this your jam?
Not really my jam. Who is this?
Drake.
Okay.
And he loves Louis?
Mm-hmm.
Jackson, you going there this weekend?
No. Antonino's is the plan.
That's right. That's Saturday?
Yeah, for my girlfriend's birthday.
You got a reservation?
Tried to get one, couldn't snag one.
What
but
about the GM listens to the show?
Antonino's, text in. Jackie needs some help.
No, I mean, we'll just get there a little earlier and hang out. You know, no rush. I mean, we got the show at the Fox starts at like 7:30, so we'll
So you go
What do you see in
early.
Hairspray or something?
No,
and Juliet.
Ampersand?
Ampersand Juliet. And Juliet.
And Juliet.
Yeah.
Is this a show about cuckolding?
No, I don't think so. I'll be on the lookout for cuck undertones.
You'll know it when you see it.
Yeah, how do you know it when you see it?
Cuckolding undertones?
Mm-hmm.
Matt Damon kind of has played a cuck in a lot of movies, and it's so I'm on the lookout for it with him.
So The Departed for sure.
Big time.
Wow.
Talented Mr. Ripley kind of plays a pro cuck.
No, what's a pro cuck? A guy who makes a living?
Well, yeah, it was an ulterior motive behind the cuckoldry.
Doug?
What was it? Money?
Yeah, something like that.
All right.
Contagion, the film Contagion, which was a tough watch in 2020. While the credits are still rolling, he's getting cucked.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, big time.
Hey, right off the get-go.
It's like the first scene. Movie called Downsizing by Alexander Payne. Big cuck. Yeah, left and right. Interstellar even, he's a little cuckoldy. But I love Matt Damon. Just like I love Jon Hamm. It was a great interview. Thank you again, Martin. That was great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you missed it, go back and podcast Jon Hamm with us in the 8 o'clock hour. Joey Vitale coming up here in a little bit. Dawson's Creek knows a hidden theme when he sees one. That's from Little Judy Suckins.
Ain't that the truth? Good on you, Suckins.
Good on you, Suckins. I like a good text audit, Tim, and I found...
What do you got going on?
I found one, and it was a person who said, I'm grateful or thankful my parents took me to Cardinal games when I was a kid instead of sitting home protesting Mo. And it is interesting, like, if you're a parent that is mad at the DeWitts or mad at Mo and you don't go to games, so your kids aren't going to games either. You know what I mean? They're saying, basically, my parents took me to games. Now the grown-ups are saying, I'm going to show you I'm protesting Mo, and then therefore kids that are 8, 9, 10 aren't going to the old ball yard.
So I guess the closest thing we've experienced to this, this is a guess because I didn't live it, would be the 1970s.
Well, the team wasn't great.
Right. When people weren't showing up, what was there anger toward the team? Because they're coming off of a hell of a decade in the 60s. Doug, what do you...
No, there wasn't anger.
Just apathy?
And they had like 3 years where they were just a game or two out from winning the division. It just wasn't the thing to do. The stadium was kind of antiseptic, it was big football bowl and wasn't very appealing. They didn't really have any real superstars. They traded that away when they traded Steve Carlton. And it was kind of a combination of all that because it was cheap to go down there. It wasn't very expensive at all.
No helmet nachos.
Yeah.
They probably work you up a nacho if you really ask nicely. It just wasn't the thing to do for whatever reason. I'm not really sure why. Because they weren't always horrible.
Were they mad at the brewery or anything? I mean, they had traded
No, I don't think there was any anger had anything to do with it. It just wasn't the thing to do.
Well, don't get mad at us.
Really, until Whitey Herzog came around and kind of changed all that.
What was the thing to do?
Great question.
I'm not sure.
Steamers?
We had football back then.
Big Red.
And the Blues.
Don Coryell.
Yeah. I don't know, but the stadium was routinely, 15, 18,000 people at games.
Yeah.
Big, huge stadium.
Line dancing. Everyone's line dancing instead.
There was not a lot of line dancing. No.
Could ask Ted Simmons about it, but that would be in the past, Doug.
Yeah.
And I'm not allowed to ask any question about anything that hasn't happened yet.
That's kind of like Mark McGuire's defense in front of Congress, too, isn't it?
Don't want to talk about the past.
I bet every criminal on trial would say the same thing.
Great defense.
Well, sure, I murdered him, but that was in the past.
Yeah. No,
Doug was at all the key parties in the 70s. That's from Stepdad Gary. Is that what you were doing instead of going to Cardinal games?
I saw the Ice Storm. That sexual revolution was no joke.
And that's the opening scene in the ice storm? Am I right on that?
Not opening, but
Kevin Kline?
it's like pretty much the
Kline?
entire third act is the key party.
Do you ever break films down by acts?
I never have. Not once in my life.
Kevin Kline would be a delight on the show.
Seriously,
wouldn't he?
Priory? Yeah.
Priory Zone.
And you know what? My generation...
Priory today.
Big Chill and Ice Storm for me.
What about Dave?
Dave's great. That's a really good one.
Oh,
you're sorry you missed that, weren't you?
I am. That's a great call.
Fish Called Wanda?
I've heard great things. I know I need to see it.
wow.
I know I need to see it.
John Cleese.
You
Naked
and
as
your-
the day he was born.
He won Best Picture, didn't he?
You and your generation need to have a better relationship.
I
with Kevin
couldn't
Kline.
agree more. I couldn't agree more.
And then yet you won't see a Fish Called Wanda?
I will. I absolutely will. Oh, Sophie's Choice. Yeah, outstanding. Tough movie, but he's great.
Okay.
Well, all right then.
6'2", that Kevin Kline.
Excuse me?
He's 6'2".
You like a tall
man?
Rare actors sometimes a little shorter. So when you see a 6'2", it's probably tough to get some roles at some times.
Is that right? Really?
Probably.
6'2"?
I mean, probably
I think
not
that's
possible.
true. I mean, pretty much across the board, they tend to be shorter.
Well, you have to
What's
pair 'em
Jon
up.
Hamm, about 6 foot?
Yeah, I bet he's about 6 foot.
6-ish.
Yeah, he's pretty. He's been some real athletic in movies. You know, he's a
Strapping fellow.
strapping. That's 6'1" for John.
Now, that Fred Gwynn was a tall drink of water.
Herman Munster. He also was a judge in My Cousin Vinny.
2 Utes. We could probably get, well, Fred Gwynn has passed, but
Yeah.
who else could we get from the Munsters?
Fred Gwynn died 35 years ago.
Butch Patrick, we've already had him.
There may have been in the group text Joe Buck explaining to Jon Hamm loosely about coming on the show. And I said, if it helps at all, we've had Eddie Munster. So I do think that might have sealed the deal.
Producer Joe, Eddie Munster, Jon Hamm.
Did you see what happened to Jordan Bennington, Tim? Did you see this at the the ice hockey world championships going on in Denmark?
What do we got going on here?
Schenner went over to play. Benner went over to play as soon as they were bounced. In Denmark, the Canadian team, Team Canada, was stunned by Denmark. This would have been, I guess, yesterday afternoon, overnight. So Denmark, the host country, beats Canada 2-1. But see if this sounds familiar. Canada's winning 1-0, Jordan Bennington in goal. Denmark pulls the goalie. Nikolai Ehlers of your Winnipeg Jets got the tying goal.
Doug.
Goalie
Flashback.
pulled, Winnipeg Jets player ties the game with 2:17 to go, and then they end up getting the game winner with, I believe, 40 seconds to go. And Canada was bounced. Sid the Kid, friend of Joey V's, not happy. So Canada bounced by Denmark. And for Benner, geez, that's a lot to take after the heels of that Game 7.
I thought he was getting away from that.
Goalie pulled, Winnipeg Jets player scores, and then the game-winning goal is in the final second. I think it was 30, 40 seconds left. But the U.S. has advanced. So Doug Armstrong's over there with Team Canada. He's probably like, oh, my God.
Not again.
Yes. A little too familiar.
Martin, neither one of those were his fault. I had it on yesterday afternoon. It's from the 636.
I'm not saying it was his fault. I did not tune into the game. He had 32 saves, I want to say. Not
Doesn't
saying
have to
it-
be your fault
I'm
to
not
really
saying
feel
it's-
horrible about it.
I mean, I don't think any of us said it was his fault they lost Game 7. I'm saying just to live through that as a competitor, that's brutal. But thank you for watching. I am serious. I'm glad somebody saw it. I did not see
It's kind of hard to believe that Canada, which is really kind of considered the home of hockey, could lose to Denmark. Now that's
Well, you also have a lot of
country.
guys still playing in the NHL, that are still busy. Because like they said, Ehlers had just gotten over there because the Jets had just been eliminated. Recent. We'll take your world championship call. I wonder if Joey V would have been watching that because the U.S.
He was. I'm telling you, he was at Field Day yesterday.
Oh, that's right. He's got his priorities. Why am I guessing he'd be watching hockey?
What kind of events did they have at Field Day?
I asked my son that. I said, so what'd you guys do? And he goes, shark and minnow. Jackson immediately knew. So what's shark and minnow?
Shark and minnow? It's usually played in the pool where someone has their eyes closed. That would be the shark. And then the rest of the children would be the minnows. And they have to Or am I thinking of Marco Polo?
That's Marco Polo. Polo.
I played Sharks and Minnows, but now I don't remember. I thought it was you swim to one end of the pool and you try.
Well, I don't think
their
they're
eyes closed.
swimming at field day.
Well, but that's what Sharks and Minnows I thought was in the pool.
I'm thinking it's like inside the gymnasium, a little baby pool, and there's probably like a little fishing rod or something.
That's
like a little
not
carnival
Sharks
game.
And Minnows I played.
Okay, we'll take your Sharks
let's get
and
to the
Minnows
bottom of
call.
that.
Call in if you were watching Canada-Denmark or if you know how to play Sharks and Minnows. Have we taken a call today?
It's kind of a build-up to capture the flag kind of situation.
Sharks and Minnows?
Yeah.
Huh.
So like a recess type game?
That's correct.
There was that, I believe, potato sack race.
Yeah.
Their tug of war.
I don't believe I heard anything on tug of war. And I was sitting there and I was leaning in. He's having dinner. And he said, "Oh, and Joey Vitale was there." I said, "Cool." I said, "So what else you guys do?" And then he answered with some other thing that I don't remember, with another game that I can't recall after the Sharks and Minnows and potato sack. And he goes, "Do you mind not talking to me right now?"
Oh, gosh.
And my wife was standing there. I go, "I got to be honest with you. I really kind of respect that." It was so direct and cutting, but I go, "Yeah."
Well, what was he doing?
I got no problem with it. It's like Jackson and I were reading somebody like attacked my wife in a comment under a TMA. I can't recall what it was, but they used their real name.
Yeah.
And
right.
I go, I got to tell you, this case when my son just stabbed me right in the stomach, but looked in my eyes politely while doing it. I thought, I got to respect it a little bit.
This is while he was eating.
Yeah, he was dining. He dining.
He
He's
just
in the
wanted
kitchen.
to chew more and talk less.
Yeah, he just wanted to enjoy.
Okay.
He just wanted to enjoy. He was watching something on his little, I don't know what the hell you call it. It's not a computer. It's like whatever a kid laptop would be.
Tablet?
Yeah, but not even that. I don't know. It's something for kids. I mean, so anyway.
He's going to graduate to more direct comment. Zip it, Pops. It's all coming.
Yeah, I didn't mind it.
Buzz off, old man.
Yeah, it's coming. Boy, they are not happy that we do not know Sharks and Minnows are.
We just don't.
They don't care that we weren't watching the World Championships.
It's like I overwrit some save in my brain. Overridden? Overwroten? Overwroten can't be it.
I'm pretty sure it's not overwrote.
Boy, this is a tough one.
Bail. Just bail.
Overrode?
Ripcord.
Overrode? Is that the word?
But it's like when you overwrite a save that you like start a new save. It's like taping over something.
Okay.
And I've done that with Sharks and Minnows in my mind. No.
Tim, Doug, I'll let you guys play Capture My Shorts. That's from the Gerbil. Doug, you want to play that this weekend? Or
No, not really. This says you start with one shark. Minnows get a head start and start swimming to the other end of the pool. The shark dives in after them and tries to tag minnows. Any minnows tagged become sharks.
So it's
There
like
have to be a
game
pool
of tag.
involved.
No, it sounds like a game of tag of sorts, right? You could do an outdoor non-pool version.
It's freaking tag, you idiots.
Oh, come on, go easy on it.
Please start with one shark and everybody tagged becomes a shark. But yes, it's normally played in a pool. That's from the 618.
All right. I'm not going crazy. Full circle, Jon Hamm starred in a movie in 2018 called Tag, where the premise was a bunch of friends play a game
I think
of tag.
that's a putt he wants back. That's my understanding. He kind of catches some hell about that one.
It's a good premise. It's a fun premise. Because it's a real, true story. A fun premise, but yeah, not the best execution. Not Jon Hamm's fault.
Okay.
Was that your favorite guest yet? I mean, you had Chris Long, you had Dennis Gates offer you a scholarship.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of a tie for first situation, but probably Long number one.
Chris, you almost passed out.
Yeah, well, that's a bit. Yeah,
that was Chris in Charlottesville. Today it was John in New York.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome. I mean, Martin does great work on the surprise guest.
Now I'm telling you.
They just have to identify themselves the city they're in.
Yeah, that helps.
And one of the keys of Jon Hamm is being in New York and not L.A. It'd be a little early for this.
Yeah, it'd be real early.
Now, Jackson, here's a text that's come 3 times from the same guy.
Okay.
He says, I work at Antonino's. Jackson has a table with his name on it at 7 under the name Dr. Cuckold. When you read this out loud, I will mark it on our reservations book.
Appreciate it.
It's a little late for
shows
showtime.
at 7:30.
Oh.
Ideal time be 5:45.
This is the case, Martin. I don't know if you saw this text. It was coming in often. And then I looked at the text history, and this gentleman would not necessarily be considered a friend of the show.
Oh, you don't trust him?
Well, I mean, if you scroll up, you'll see.
Okay.
This guy's, really into the show, but not necessarily in a good way.
Not a healthy way.
Yeah, yeah, well, fortunately, there's a decent number of those out there.
But the real GM, not the Real Housewives, but the real GM of Antoninos has texted the show.
Yes.
And we need him to make contact, and then we will connect. Jay, just let it happen, Jackson.
If it happens, it happens. I appreciate it.
We're not talking about paparazzi out front for you. We're just get you a table.
No, if I get there at a certain time, I think I'll be able to get a table.
Okay.
But just because the place doesn't have reservations doesn't mean they don't have walk-ups. Usually a place reserves half their tables for reservations, half for walk-ups. I'll be fine. And
Doesn't sound like you're too concerned.
Nah, not really.
And you're going to get toasted ravioli. I hear the toasted ravioli there are the bee's knees.
That is an appetizer for sure. Yeah, no doubt.
Texture just said goobers. I guess.
You ever had that candy?
That's the guy who's the GM at Antoninos?
No, they just said goobers. And
That wouldn't make you feel great
I
about
think
the
we're
resin.
being labeled. That's hurtful.
All right, fair enough. Joey Vitale's coming up here on the program, 10 o'clock. Design, Air, Heating, and Cooling email of the day is coming up at 10:45. Send yours in. It's been a Jerry the Big Tank Del Vecchio month, but I see Buck Swope and the self-made stay-at-home Ladue mom making their move. That is something to keep an eye on here with only 5 emails of the day remaining in the month of May. So the show and the station are off for Memorial Day on Monday. Hope everybody gets a chance to enjoy the weekend and celebrate those who served our country on Memorial Day. Doug, we've enjoyed Jon Hamm on the Callier and Thompson phone lines, and we will be enjoying Joey Vitale on those phone lines. Can you tell me about Callier and Thompson?
Well, sure. Callier and Thompson is a place, where you can go and trust them, and that's the big thing, trust in that business. Time and time again, Callier and Thompson has meetings with potential customers that met with someone else first. And why? Well, for some reason, many people looking to remodel their home are very frustrated trying to find a remodeler that is responsive and trustworthy. Home remodeling is one of the biggest investments you'll make besides the home purchase itself. My friends at C&T, sometimes I call them C&T, only want the opportunity just to meet you. Check out their Google reviews and see for yourself how responsive and trustworthy Callier and Thompson is. They got a ton of 5-star reviews. Here's a bit of one of them from Diana. She said, I've had extensive remodeling work done this past year that included 3 bathrooms, a bedroom, full kitchen, living room, dining room, and stairs. And designer Christine calmly and professionally handled all the details. Nothing too hard, too complicated for the crew, and they treated my property with respect. If you're in the market to upgrade your home, I encourage you to choose Callier and Thompson for all of your remodeling work. Be sure to ask for Christine. You won't be disappointed. They got lots of 5-star reviews just like that. People love working with Callier and Thompson, and you will too. They are simply the best. Been around since the 1950s, and that ought to tell you something. Callier and Thompson, the website is collierandthompson.com.
There you go. A sponsor of the phone lines, 314-974-0101. The program's called TMA, and it airs on 101 ESPN and the TMA YouTube channel. Wow. How will I explain that to my kids, assuming they'll let me talk to them? Yikes, Doug. I don't like that.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. Jackson, don't wiggle your head like that.
I like what he's doing. It's not really on beat, but I like it anyway.
It's no glowworm, that's for sure. Who is this?
Rihanna.
Okay.
You call her Riri when you see her?
I don't see her ever.
She's been in studio a few times with us.
I don't remember that.
That'd be awesome.
Foot Fetish Friday, I think. James Carlton. He is a longtime sponsor of this program. He's been my insurance agent since 2019, and I'd like to recommend him to the audience, 314-961-4800, or go online at carltoninsurance.net. Doug, if I said take 60 seconds out of your day and it might wind up saving you a couple thousand over the course of the next year or two, would you say, I kind of like that ROI?
Even though I'm pressed for time, I would still do that.
Well, there you go. But that's what I'm telling the audience to do. And I don't like to tell people what to do. I'm pro-liberty, anti-kink shame, and the whole thing. But 314-961-4800 is the number. You call there. You're going to talk to a live person in the office in Webster Groves right now. James has a huge staff. And just tell them your situation, and they're going to look to see how they can save you money. There's a very good chance they're going to be able to. And the next thing you know, you go, that was kind of worth it. Then they do all the paperwork for you. Now you're a James Carlton client. I don't know why you wouldn't do that. I really don't. But I did it, and I can tell you it's saving me money, and also the customer service I get from James and his team is superior to anything that I have experienced in the insurance industry. Make the switch. You'll be happy you did. At the very least, make the call to find out how they can save you money. 314-961-4800 or go online at carltoninsurance.net. If your insurance costs a leg and an arm, call James Carlton. State Farm. Joey Vitale is going to be joining us coming up in a matter of moments. We'll get to the bottom of this sharks and minnows controversy.
Okay.
Also, I would imagine, Martin, you're going to stick around denying onboarding. Maybe onboarding's not going to take place with the 3-day
holiday weekend.
Yeah,
Haim's up at Cape.
Joey,
I feel like Joey, if I don't, I'm not good enough for you.
And he got moved to 10 o'clock for Jon Hamm.
So I feel like I need to kind of own this.
Yeah. So Joey's going to join us here coming up. The self-made stay-at-home Ledoux mom is a trust fund baby. That's from the 617. Just out of nowhere.
Yeah, I don't think she's hiding or denying it.
It's interesting. We've had a 574 text today and a 617. So not 573 and not 618, but very close. And both not fans of certain elements of the program. In this case, the self-made stay-at-home Ledoux mom being a trust fund baby. I don't know that she is. I think she married well a few different times.
Oh, did she?
Yeah. And every time she gets divorced, she does a little bit better.
It's 50% of another fortune.
That's correct.
Pretty good game plan, really.
For the old fella, go to a little cafeteria. Used to have a Miss Sherry's. Befriend the old fella. Sometimes even men can do it too. Just make friends with a guy with money. And you just got to take a little pile.
Jackson's playlist is like a 13-year-old girl. I disagree.
That's fair.
Is it?
I don't know.
I think that's fair.
I love Rihanna. She should make a new album.
Somebody said Riri?
Yeah, Bad Girl Riri.
She had 3 children now?
Yeah, with A$AP Rocky.
She's with child right now.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So probably not going to get a new album.
Who is A$AP Rocky?
A$AP Rocky?
Yeah. That's her gentleman caller.
There's the rapper, head of A$AP Mob.
Okay.
You probably know A$AP Ferg, right, Doug?
No, I don't.
12.
617's the land of the poors. That's from Doug's prison wallet. What is the 617?
Boston. That's Boston.
Oh, like Southie?
Looks like just Boston and several surrounding communities. Cambridge area. Brookline, Newton, Quincy. Obviously, low money. Brookline and Newton. And then what was the other one? 574?
I know, 574.
That was, Indiana, South Bend area.
Oh, is that right? They love us at Notre Dame.
It was Theismann.
Could well be.
Theismann.
Yeah, Joe Theismann.
Yeah, it could have been Theismann. Yeah, just kind of taunting me.
Hate listening.
Mad that he hasn't been on the show in a while.
Yeah. All right, Joey Vitale next. It's TMA 101 ESPN.
Hey, this is Action Jackson with the Sports Center update. That's driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. Looking at the NBA playoffs, the Thunder win again last night, make that 2-0 in the series behind a MVP-like performance from Shai Gilgeous-Alexander with 38 points and 8 assists. That was another Sports Center update driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. See them at londoff.com. Chevy, together we drive. Are you kidding me?
There you like Meatloaf?
Sure.
Is it Jim Steinman who he worked with?
Oh, I don't know
Big
who he worked
Productions,
with.
and then he did Streets of Fire. Tonight is What It Means to Be Young, but that launched Dan Hartman's I Can Dream About You. What do you think? 80? I'm going to go 84 to get me 83 and 85.
Okay.
Streets of
I think it's
Fire.
84.
Diane Lane?
It's 84.
Pretty good about it. It's Teammate 101 ESPN. I'll be honest with you. We went long with Jon Hamm, which was great. Well, we had 25 minutes with Jon Hamm. Just talking it over. I would imagine Entertainment Tonight is going to use that interview.
I would think so. Yeah.
Actually, current news with the Halliburton ball the other day where he said, I want to set the record straight.
Yes.
So he came on these airwaves to set the record straight.
There you go. So we are behind, and we know Joey Vitale and us, we can go a long segment, so I need to catch up. So we're going to do a quick one here. We'll come back with more. TMA 101 ESPN. Oh, Doug. This does not pass Can You Stand the Rain as the jam. But it's a jam.
Yeah, I don't know. Who is this now?
Moby.
He was sideways with Eminem.
He could get rolled by Obi.
Yep. Yes.
Obi Trice.
Real name, no gimmicks.
Doug Moby, thoughts? And he worked with Gwen Stefani on Southside, am I right?
I don't know who he worked with. I don't know.
Find out what Joey Vitale.
Kind of look like Michael Stipe from R.E.M.
It's not a bad play. It's not a bad play. Joey Vitale gives us his thoughts now here on the Callier and Thompson phone lines. Morning, Joey.
That was from Gone in 60 Seconds, that song.
See? This guy always adds information. Wow. And Martin buried him in the 10 o'clock hour today.
No, I didn't bury Joey. Not true. They're trying to get us sideways, pal.
Yeah, I'm trying to divide CBC.
Second greatest Nicolas Cage movie of all time, Gone in 60 Seconds.
Next to
Vegas?
He's going to say National Treasure.
No, he's going to say The Rock.
Boys. No.
Con Air.
8 millimeter.
No. Con Air. Who said Con Air?
Con Air, buddy. We're back. You and me, we're back.
Marty. Good CBC boy.
For heaven's sake.
Back at ya.
Yep. Now, to be fair, you didn't know that you got bumped around today, did you?
No, I don't listen to your guys' show. That's when I call in.
Oh, gosh. Well, you missed Jon Hamm
John
today.
Hamm took your slot earlier.
Oh, you know what? Jackson, he fired off a good old 8. Hey, how's 8:15 sound? Standard, pretty consistent guest here. You guys are treating the guests right, the ones that are consistent. So I'm thinking, okay, yeah, here's a consistent 8:15. Thank you, Jackson. I appreciate it. All of a sudden, it was like an 8:45. And then I got 10 o'clock. I'm like, man, you just want to push him to the fast lane, or what's going on?
Oh, yeah. At the end of the interview might be when the fast lane starts.
You're on with Freddie Coleman, midnight.
I did figure it was someone who pretty important. Who was it? Who's way more important than I was?
Yeah, we might not have heard it. It was Jon Hamm was on the program.
The Hammer.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Hammer. He's a hell of a guy. Love that guy. Okay, it's fine. It's fine.
You accept that. Hey, my son was telling me that you were up at school yesterday hanging out. Yesterday being field day. Is that correct?
Absolutely. I'm a field day volunteer like you read about every year. If the Blues aren't playing, I'm there. Yesterday, old Brandon Wapplehorse. You know the Wapplehorse.
Oh, of course. Hey, coaches my son's team.
Yeah, the guy's like an Abercrombie model.
Do you think he's hot?
I've never seen the fella.
But you think he's hot?
Bring him a picture, Tim, while I start yapping.
Here, I'll pull up a picture of the guy who coaches my son's team.
It's getting creepy.
He's like, they put me and him in charge of the sponge bucket over there in front of St. Peter's School there in Kirkwood. And
sounds like a Costanza episode.
They put me with this 6'5", like completely chiseled human. And then about halfway through field day, with that sponge bucket, one of the kids just eats it, going like head first into the bucket. And Brandon just gets doused with water. And he's wearing like a light gray shirt. Relatively chilly day yesterday, fellas. And obviously the wet shirt with the chilly temperature. Let's just say we had quite the crowd around the sponge bucket area.
And that's because Doug just went, wow, when I showed him the picture.
Say, wow. I said, okay, there's a guy.
and the crowd gathered around from downtown Kirkwood because Brandon's shirt was tight?
Oh, for heaven's sakes.
Tight, and he got absolutely hosed with water as some girl was rounding third and absolutely went Rose style head first into this bucket, and he got absolutely just hammered with water. He was soaked the rest of the day, but I tell you what, we had quite a crowd, like I said.
It turned into a wet T-shirt contest.
Yeah, kind of did. Yeah, that's what schools should be doing. They should be doing like an adult version. They could really raise some money.
Well, I think we're trying to raise attendance these days. The Archdiocese may be onto something here. Way to go, Joey. Way to be ahead of the curve.
Yeah, I don't know much about that, guys. But anyway, no, it was a wonderful field day. Yes, I ran into your bride and Jameson,
yeah.
Of course, at school pickup, which is always great to see those two. But yeah, your son is absolutely the cutest kid. He's like so shy. He's like the opposite of you. Like you don't stop talking. I couldn't get 2 words out of his mouth. He of course was starstruck running into Joey Radio, obviously.
Joey Radio, I like that.
But I tell you what, it was a great day, and of course now, as they say, school is out for the summer. Who sang that song? Was that
Alice Cooper?
Alice Cooper.
Alice Cooper. Okay, school's out for the
Casey
summer.
right now.
Yeah, kids are going to be burning books. Burning books is still a thing. They're going to come home and burn books.
Well, it's coming back around.
This is unbelievable. No, to out-ADD us is really impressive, but you're doing a wonderful job.
Yeah. So there's that.
Well, were you a chaperone? Because I feel like they should do some vetting over there.
They can't get a lot of dad chaperones at these things, and of course I'm pretty much jobless for 7 months out of the year, so they always ask if I don't mind pitching in, and of course I always say yes. And but no, it's a wonderful time. And yesterday's field day used to be way more competitive. I went to St. Justin the Martyr. You guys been there in Sunday?
Yeah, home of the Martyrdome. Very dangerous place to try and go and win a game.
Yes, you don't go into the Martyrdome with John Kornfeld, Mark Kornfeld, of course, in the 2000 class with Big, Big Gary.
Doug, you know Big Gary, right?
I don't know Big Gary.
You cut me from the freshman basketball
sure,
team.
Yeah,
Coach Kornfeld, he's a regular listener.
He didn't cut you. He saved your life.
Yes. Big Gary ran a tight ship in 5th grade basketball for St. Justin the Martyr. He had let's see, my brother Sam was on the bench to start every game 5th grade. He was always saying Hail Marys and rosaries with Eric Sullentrop, as Mark Kornfeld just pretty much went end to end and won him, of course, a district championship. So my brother still got that trophy, but he didn't come into the Martyrdome and not face some adversity. Let's just put it that way, fellas.
Tim, what was the question? I'm sorry, I apologize. I asked it.
I asked toughest building to play in CYC basketball next to St. Gabriel's, and of course it's the Martyrdome, and then we went through the Kornfeld family tree.
And the Martyrdome is a little gymnasium with tile floor at St. Justin. That
Correct.
one?
The Martyrdome.
Okay.
Yeah, they actually call it the multi-purpose building there, Doug.
I see. Yeah,
it's like
Busch
Stadium,
I like
the vet, Three
Martyrdome
Rivers.
I like the Martyrdome a little bit better.
Okay. All right. Well, we like to talk a lot of grade school sports here.
Joey, were you watching the World Championships with Canada and Denmark? Did you have any watching?
Absolutely not. Never.
No. Okay. Well, thank you. You and Jackson are now aligned.
I turn into Jackson Burkett when the Blues lose.
You're done.
I could care less. No, I watched a little of the NHL. I didn't watch. So I guess Canada ended up losing. I heard about that. Some guys were talking about it at church this morning.
We were just talking about on this show because Bennington, I said, had to have a little PTSD. They lose to Denmark, and they're winning 1-0, and about 2 minutes left. Denmark pulls the goalie, and Nikolai Ehlers scores the game-tying goal with the goalie pull. I'm like, oh, this again. And then they give up the losing goal, like 40 seconds left.
Oh, no, that's not good.
No. So, and Army and Benner and Shen just had to relive that sort of nightmare. But you didn't watch it, so that's fine.
No, I didn't watch it. I didn't watch it. But man, that is like a little case of Groundhog Day there.
Yes.
Well, we definitely got a little time to clean up the 6-on-5. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm. Well, thanks for your expertise on that tournament. That's kind of
way to break it down.
To have you on.
You know who was on that team? Sidney Crosby, and he's quoted.
Oh, wow.
He even was quoted saying how upset he was about getting bounced because Canada takes that real serious.
Yeah, no, I didn't. I was too busy ringing home a championship at the St. Pete Field Day. Team Yellow. Shout out Team Yellow. Y-E-L-L-O-W. Yellow. Let's go Ghana. So they had the different colors. They had the colors.
Get a shout out?
Ghana was our team country. So every color got a country name. So Team Ghana, we were yellow. I'm not sure if yellow's in the Ghana. So no, I didn't watch the hockey. I was wrapped up winning another gold at Field Day. We got the kiddos going.
What were you actually coaching?
Well, you kind of like
Sharks and Minnows.
You talk strategy. Like the water balloon toss. Everyone wants to just absolutely hammer it. You got to teach the kids how to absorb the water balloon. These youngins. These youngins.
Wow.
They hold their hands out and catch a water balloon like with their hands of bricks. I'm like, dude, it's called absorb. Have you ever watched Mighty Ducks? Like cradle the egg, baby, cradle the egg. Meanwhile, principal got involved. They called the Secret Service to get me out of there because I was like, cradle the egg, baby, cradle the egg. Anyway, so we kind of got that all figured out. You got to absorb the balloon. You know, it's just different coaching, Tim. Different coaching along the way. Sponge. When you run with the sponge, you got to hold it horizontal. You hold it vertical, all the water falls out. More water in bucket, good. More water on ground, bad.
Wow, this guy can coach.
Doug, do you remember in grade school they'd have a field day and then the men were just sponging each other off?
We didn't have sponges when I was a kid. We would love to have had
Scrabble.
sponges. Hadn't been invented yet.
Joey, a texter said, what the hell is going on at Vitale's compound over there? They've got a ground screw bigger than the Cardinals. Is there something, maybe home repair? Maybe the chickens have done some damage?
Is it the hot tub?
No, we got a couple different things going on with our garden bed. We got to get our hoses rerun through the garden bed.
Okay.
That's going on. We had a bit of a chicken party yesterday. I went to Denny Dennis. You guys have been in Denny Dennis?
Yes. Yeah.
Denny Dennis is a great store. It's in Fenton. Go back to Denny Dennis if you've ever been there.
The what?
It's a outdoor store, but they sell like live minnows and crickets and worms. So we got these 21 chickens. That's right.
It's a big store for hunters and fishermen and outdoorsmen.
Yeah.
Why would you Tim and I haven't been there?
Chicken owner. If you're a chicken owner, go to Denny Dennis. So I got two tubes of crickets. They sell them by the tube. So we brought the crickets home. We chucked them in the tub with all the chickens. Dude, these chickens went absolutely crazy, dude. It was like a dance party. They were just going nuts, like completely bonkers. And obviously every cricket got taken down Mortal Kombat style. But the kids loved it. So we had a chicken party yesterday. That was a big crowd. And no, other than that, just a little irrigation on our garden beds today. That should be about it. So I apologize for any neighbors that are blocking any traffic for you.
Huh. Okay, you can't just water the gardens yourself. You got to have hoses run out there.
Well, the problem is, Doug, if you go on vacation, you got to keep consistency with garden beds. I mean, you know anything about garden beds, Doug?
Very little.
You got to garden. You got to water it pretty much every morning. But you got to do it like before the sun comes up. See, I didn't know all this stuff, so I'm learning a lot about garden beds. But if you water like midday, it's so hot, like evaporates and like burns the leaves. So you got to water in the morning. So consistently, can I get up early? Yeah, but I also got 21 chickens, like 20 kids, 2 dogs, a bird, a handicapped bird I got to take care of. So there's just a lot going on where I can't consistently water it every morning at 6 a.m.
You trying to put Grant's Farm out of business?
We could. That's not a bad idea. I could probably sell some of my chickens. Apparently, Kirkwood's got a 5 chicken rule. A 5.
I wanted to cap them at 5.
I wondered about that. Plenty. Seems like plenty.
Yeah, I don't get that rule because I got dogs all over the neighborhood barking, going crazy, but I can't have 6 chickens. Like I don't know.
I actually agree with you there.
You think 6 would be too many, but 5 is...
Well, I don't get, like, what's the difference between 5 and 8 chickens?
Hello, bird flu. How about that?
Thanks, Berkey. I was talking to Berkey before. I said, if you were a hockey player, your nickname would be Berkey.
100% would be Berkey. Yeah.
Berkey.
Doug would be Dougie, right?
Or Duggar?
Dougie. Tim, yours is a little bit trickier, but they would probably go Mickey, like McKernan.
T-Mac?
Mickey.
And then who's the other guy that's there? He doesn't come in very often. CBC guy. Who's the CBC guy?
Martin.
I've been told by hockey that Walt's got me at 2020, but that's a little inside joke. Killer is what people say.
Yeah,
Kilcoyne or Kilsey.
Kilsey. Notice a lot of these hockey nicknames. We can actually turn it into some sort of educational show for you guys. But all these nicknames, most of them end in an E.
All right.
For hockey, that E, right? That E, it really like alerts the brain. It kind of like, it's like a sharp, like E, like you hear it and it's sharp to like the tones of your ear. So that's where like hockey's such a fast sport where things are happening so quickly and you need to get guys' attention fast. Like Martin or Marty, like, the E kind of hits the attention sensors quicker. So that's why in hockey you have a lot of guys' nicknames and then an E. So there you go.
So what was yours?
Yeah, I mean, did Sid call you Joey, or was there something else going on?
Most guys call me 46 because they didn't know my name.
46.
Joey V. Joey V was my nickname. Yeah, Joey V.
Nice.
Joey V.
Okay. Joey V, the Birdmaster.
Yeah, it could be worse. That's not bad.
At CBC, I was Spitz. They called me Spitz.
Why was that?
Well, because my coach, when I was in Afton, I grew up playing in Afton. Shout out Afton Americans, best breakfast sandwiches in St. Louis. And my coach called me Spitz because I was always like diving all over the ice and like jumping around and aggressive. And he's like, "Hey, you're like that diver from the Olympics, Mark Spitz." I didn't find out until years later Mark Spitz was a swimmer.
Yeah, not a diver.
I know. You like water sports.
I think my coach was an alcoholic because he thought he was a diver.
Oh, my God.
That, of course, is the opinion of Joey Vitale, not Doug Vaughn, Martin Kilcoyne.
Whoever that coach may have been,
Jackson Burkett.
We don't stand behind that comment.
And Hubbard Radio. Thank you.
Okay, carry on now with your character assassination. Joey, a texter from the 636 just said, yeah, hockey, anyone? I guess they want your breakdown of what's going on, but that can wait.
Yeah, I can wait. We have all summer.
Yeah, so Doug, he'll work out just fine. All right, Joey, it was a wonderful conversation. It was educational. We got to talk Martyrdom. We also got to talk Field Day. And Joey's team, Ghana, took home first place.
YELLOW, Ghana. Whoa, Ghana.
Nice.
Champs in the house.
Yeah, and Brandon Wappelhorst, wet T-shirt. So all of these things have been covered, Doug. We'll look at the Blues off-season next week.
His phone now is blowing up. Hey, they're talking about you wearing a tight T-shirt. Not weird at all.
I'm just telling you, when I showed Doug a picture, he went, wow.
I didn't. I said, oh, there's a guy.
Wow. Right there. That's what it was. There was the audio.
He's the guy at a party or like at a get-together. Like, I can't stand that guy. I'm gonna go hang over here by McKernan.
Now, what does that mean? Right there.
You took a shot.
Right there.
You just got nicked.
Why you gotta be so sensitive, Mickey?
Yeah, Mickey. See, that'd be my name if I'm in the room.
Even
Doug.
that's offensive as an Irish guy.
Yeah, as an Irish guy, you're out of line right there. There's the Italian-Irish thing going on.
Stop being so sensitive. Come on.
I am hypersensitive,
Not mad at
Doug.
me. You're mad at your father. I forgive you.
Yeah, I got to work through it, Joey. Enjoy taking care of the birds in the garden hoses? Is that what you got, garden?
That's right. Raised beds. Raised beds.
Raised beds. There it is. That's Joey Vitale breaking it down. Thank you, Joey.
Thank you, boys.
There he is. All right, he's gone quick.
He pinkled us bad.
He did pinkle.
He's got 500 other things to do.
When I called him, the amount of background noise was unbelievable.
Is that right? What was going on?
At least two children, some sort of wildlife, winged animal.
Winged animal.
This is just my nightmare. Children, things with wings.
Yeah, they're just all around you. He's got the ghost, too.
Yeah, they called him Spitz. Yeah,
I might just go by his house. I might just drive right over there.
It'd be fun to have just a bird flying around your house.
You're out of your damn mind, Doug.
It sounded like
not in a cage, but just flying around.
I don't think you'd sleep well.
It sounded like Steve Martin in Cheaper by the Dozen, trying to coach a football team.
Did he get on a landline? Because it felt like he hung up on us. Did you hear that?
I did hear it click. It was very Gary Pinkel.
How do you do that on a cell phone?
Definitely a cell phone.
Does he do sound effects like you're doing these days?
Maybe, yeah.
Calls?
Maybe. Boop.
That's what it sounds like. Boop.
Yeah, when you hang up, boop.
Wow. Shout out to cousin Nick, who listens to this program up in the Twin Cities. He's the bitter Minnesota fan that texts in, or Iron Man Jesus, or cousin Nick. He said, I just want to know if I'm the only 612 listener. David Backus is probably streaming in Orange County, I would think. So there's two.
Yeah, they love us in Orange County. Joey Vitale bringing the heat. Guys, how about a broadcast on location from Joey's backyard? That's from 618.
Oh.
I'd like that.
I got to tell you.
Yeah.
I like that.
You definitely need plenty of cameras.
So I gather then you've been there.
Oh, to his house? Yeah, I've not been to the backyard. But yeah.
It is a nice little...
Oh, yeah.
As a matter of fact...
I think doing the show from there would be great fun.
The guy that Doug's attracted to, Brandon Wappelhorst...
I'm not attracted to it.
We were at the Christmas party where I was cucked, and we're walking out back, and I go, damn, this is a nice little setup. And Brandon, the guy Doug's attracted to, goes, yeah, we should have played in the NHL. And I go, yeah, I guess that kind of...
Yeah, that's true.
That kind of drives it home. I mean, I'm on HD2.
Very close to being a professional athlete. Not just anyone can do local news or local radio.
Thank you.
Not everyone's cut out for it.
Husband.
He also schlepped a lot of concrete. He told us that. He wanted everybody to get out there in the summer and pour some concrete. Grow up a little bit. And there may be some fumes involved with the concrete. I don't know. But Joey seems to be a little affected by life. circumstances. And
He's,
such.
he's on the high of winning field day with Team Ghana.
I can tell you he's not drunk, and people were asking that on the text line. He's
Nice.
I'm just telling you, he's not. Just to clarify, he's not. But I understand the question.
Yes, we do respect the question. All right, got a lot to work with for the design, air, heating, and cooling email today. Send yours in. Martin, you going to do onboarding now?
Yeah, I'm going to knock some out for next week.
Yeah, short week next week.
Yep.
You got to tend to it. Martin's heading out. Have a wonderful 3-day weekend. Martin, big day. I mean, they were coming at you with a surprise guest. Oh, it'll be and then it'll be and then all of a sudden it's John from New York. And how do you do?
I wanted to pull a reverse Halliburton. There's no gloating. We're just going to do the show. We're just going to see what happens. Right. If you don't like it, pound sand.
Pound sand. There it is. That's what happened. Martin's heading out. It is TMA 101 ESPN.
TMA is brought to you by St. Louis-based Stifel, a leading wealth management and investment banking firm. Stifel is the firm where success meets success and has been since 1890 with financial advisors in 12 offices across the region. Stifel helps clients right here in St. Louis and nationwide manage their hard-earned wealth. Stifel also provides banking, lending, and trust services and is a full-service investment bank. Basically, when it comes to finance, Stifel has you covered. They also have you covered if you're playing in the Donum Open with us next week, Thursday and Friday. Stifel is going to give 2 weekly grounds tickets to the winners of the teams, both on Thursday and on Friday. So if you're part of the winning foursome, you're going to get 2 weekly grounds tickets to the Stifel Charity Classic coming up in September 4th through the 7th. So that's a nice little prize for everyone involved in the Donum Open. Stifel and TMA, that's where success meets success. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
Doug, single name artist Jackson's theme for Friday, May 23rd, 2025.
Can I have an initial?
B.
Bill. This is Bill.
Yeah, Bill's Holes.
There should be an artist just called
Barney.
I would be on board.
Yeah.
Bono.
It's kind of a trick though, because it's U2. But did Bono ever do solo work?
He would be featured on a lot of stuff, I think, like featuring Bono.
He did some work with the Corrs. You attracted to the Corrs?
I don't know the Corrs.
He's too busy thinking about that guy Joey was talking about.
Oh yeah, Brandon.
I'm not in the least.
Brandon Wappelhorse. That's going to be awkward when I see him next. Hey.
He's a tall one.
Is he really? You like a gentleman taller?
I mean, most gentlemen are taller when I'm looking up at them.
How tall a gentleman are you?
5'8"-ish.
5'8"-ish, okay. All right, that's fine. That's fine. That's absolutely fine.
Do you put that on your dating profiles?
I try to stay away from listing it.
But when you sign up, it's a question that is asked, and you don't have to answer it?
Yeah, you can abstain, and I abstain from that one.
Have you ever had women say, no, I'm sorry, you're not tall enough?
Yeah, we've talked about this. I had one.
I've forgotten it.
Doug's mad because he was outed after finding Brandon so attractive.
I had a good conversation going, and then I made the mistake. We got on the topic of sand volleyball.
Oh, did you?
And I said, I'm not bad. I'm scrappy for my height. Mm-hmm. She said, how tall are you?
Oh, no.
Yeah, right there, problem.
Yeah, I knew right then and there that
it was over.
Yeah.
Well, how tall was she?
I told her I was 5'9".
Yeah, that's okay.
And she said, I don't talk to people that are my height or shorter.
Doesn't even talk to them.
Talking to in like the dating sense.
Okay.
So.
Well, sorry.
I think I dodged a bullet on that one, actually.
Probably. Yeah.
But see, I got to be honest. I don't have a problem with it.
Yeah, I'd rather you be
People are attracted to what they're attracted to.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't get mad at people for being attracted to certain things. I just don't get it.
It's like when girls get mad at me when I tell them about the water sports thing. It's like we like what we like.
No, absolutely.
Brother.
And that's the thing about this show. Other shows will kink shame. This one's really proud about not.
Oh, I do. I absolutely kink shame.
But if you're filling out your Hinge profile, and then you opt out on the height question, to me, if I'm a lass, I'm going, he's
like
on the shorter end of the stick.
It's like refusing to blow on a breathalyzer. It's like an automatic admission of guilt.
There you go.
I did get a good selfie yesterday at Forest Park with my son.
Oh, did you?
I think that's going to be the new Hinge profile
Your son
pic.
being your dog.
Correct.
Okay.
It was a nice day yesterday.
It sure was. Cool, nice.
Looks like it's glorious out there today. Doug.
Okay. Well, go back to Forest Park with your son again.
Thanks to Design Air for making the day glorious and also being the Email of the Day sponsor. Doug, you know about Design Air? Because you're a client, Martin's a client, and I'm a client.
Well, sure I do. When it comes to heating and cooling, you got to trust the name that's been around longer than all of us. That's Design Air Heating and Cooling. They are proudly serving the area since 1904. That's more than a century of keeping homes comfortable and customers happy around here. They're not just another HVAC company. They happen to be the longest-running sponsor on TMA, and that loyalty says a lot. Seth Goldcamp is the man in charge there, a name you can trust, leading a team that truly values integrity. At Design Air, they believe in honest work. You will never be sold something you don't need, whether you're dealing with the St. Louis cold or the summer heat, they've got your back with dependable service and no-pressure solutions. Visit DesignAirService.com and schedule your service today. Design Air, comfort you can count on since 1904 and now home of the handsome repairman.
Yeah, it is.
Design
Justin,
Air
I think,
Service.
is his name. Let's see. Sharon and Clayton now is no longer happy.
Oh, no.
Bono doesn't count. How about Sting? Huge swing and miss, Piddles.
Gosh, that hurts. Ouch.
Why wouldn't Bono count? Just curious on her reasoning.
I think probably because
it's U2.
It's U2, I think. I can't speak for Sharon. She's the star.
I wanted to get Bono in there, and I was thinking about doing Sting, but I chose Bono.
Well, how about this? She's back. That was a good pick of you and your baby, Chairman. I liked it.
I did see that Sharon liked that picture. Thank you, Sharon.
So I thought it was posted on your Hinge app. Oh, this is also on social media.
Yeah, I just threw it up on my Instagram story.
That would have been breaking news. There was a little something doing. Sharon's married, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Damn.
We'll dive into that on the first episode.
Oh, is that right?
Real Housewives of TMA. Yeah. What are you doing on Hinge? She's not on Hinge. I shouldn't say that. I don't know, but this is how rumors get started by silly conversations like
arguing
this.
with yourself. My God. KG has a son? That's from Doug's work husband.
It's a dog.
It's a joke. Doug's work husband. No, not really. I love him like a son, Doug.
Well, I know. You say that until you had a real son. I mean, it's pretty common for people. Usually when they're in a new relationship, they have a dog or something, they treat it like it's their child. It's like practice parenting. And then the child comes along, and then the dog gets kind of put in the back. So you still love the dog.
Nonsense.
Still love the dog, but he falls way down in the pecking order.
Won't be a problem.
Okay. All right.
It's not the size of the dog in the fight.
It's the size of the dog. It's the size of the dog in the fight.
Right. All right.
I mean, in 6 days we got the Dotem, and 7 days we got the Dotem as well. 3-day weekend. I mean, it's pony season around here, Jackson.
Sure is, yeah.
That's all it is. It's pony season.
Memorial Day, obviously remembering the troops and that element of it is very important. But like in terms of just holidays, like that federal holidays, it's usually my favorite because it's like as a kid, it was the start of summer. You know, you have all summer ahead of you. It's nice out, but it's not scorching hot. It's Memorial Day is awesome.
You compress the ball.
Ball compression picks up, you know. It's one of the better ones. Yeah, 4th of July, Memorial Day in terms of like summer holidays. Because Labor Day, it's like, the end of summer.
And that one hurts me.
Yeah, Labor Day was horrible. Because it used to be the day right before school started.
Yeah, you'd have school.
Oh, it was just
even
dreadful.
though it's only probably you have a month and a half of great weather around here anyway.
You know what I use mentally to reconcile Labor Day as being like the end of summer?
How do you handle this? Tell me, because I need to get through it.
College football season.
I agree with that. And since I've booked the Ritz-Carlton of Columbia, Missouri for 4 weekends and have been invited on a trip down to War Dam Eagle for the Missouri game against Auburn, that's how my wife and I will try to navigate the fall. Doug, do you mind the term doldrums?
Yeah, well, it's okay, I guess. Fall, I don't get the doldrums really with fall. Once school starts, you kind of get back into the routine, and it's kind of okay. It's just starting again after you've had the whole summer off.
But
that's the
I
hard
start to
part.
think about the cold weather and being inside, everybody fattening up for the slaughter, whole thing. Anyway, we'll read it. Designer Heating and Cooling email of the day. They're not going to be happy. I see that Cucky is mad at Chairman for filtering him already, but we haven't read the emails.
How does he know he's been filtered?
He doesn't know, but he might get filtered. You know,
especially with that attitude.
Jackson Airball. That's from Cucky the Dwarf.
What I do?
That was what you said yesterday on.
It wasn't my favorite email. Sorry. Don't take it. I'm not trying to make a personal shot.
Okay.
It was an airball.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll see what we got coming.
Airball and a miss is the same thing. You know, it's all counts the same.
Dr. Brandon Pryor is going to be out at the Dotem. He's got the closest to the pin competition on Thursday and Friday at Oak Valley Golf Course and Resort. You can sign up at 101ESPN.com. It's presented by Michelob Ultra. Friday is sold out, but there are a couple of foursomes remaining for Thursday. That's the day I am going to be playing. Can't wait. 100 West Dental built brand new offices on Manchester and Baldwin. No dental insurance, no problem. The membership plan aids in the cost of dental work for those who don't have dental insurance. It's 100westdental.com. No phone call needed to get in. Just check the calendar online for availability and book right then and there. You also can call if you would like 636-585-0100. It's 100 West Dental, sponsor of the closest to the pin competition at the Dotem, coming your way Thursday and Friday. We'll be broadcasting live from Oak Valley Golf Course and Resort. This is TMA 101 ESPN. Moritz Reusch Jewelers online at ninjabling.com. Family owned, locally owned. And I'm talking about going back 3 generations. That's right. It's ninjabling.com. And they are located right across from the St. Louis Galleria in Richmond Heights, in the tower across from the St. Louis Galleria on the 15th floor. You want to talk about a wonderful experience going into a jeweler. Number one, local and family ownership, but also experience with all kinds of merchandise right there on property in the store, a private experience, a no pressure experience. So if you're thinking about getting jewelry for a loved one, or you're thinking about getting engaged, my recommendation would be going to the 15th floor at the tower across from the Galleria and going to Moritz Reusch. They're online at ninjabling.com. It's Moritz Reusch.
Hey, this is Jackson with a Sports Center update. That's driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. Cardinals back in action tonight, taking on the Diamondbacks. It's going to be a 7:15 first pitch on Apple TV. Miles Michaelis on the mound for the Redbirds. Zach Gallen on the mound for the Diamondbacks. That was another Sports Center update driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. See them at londoff.com. Chevy, together we drive. Are you kidding me?
Time for the Design Air Heating and Cooling Email of the Day. 6 emails got its way to the filtered file today, too, Doug.
Well, okay, that's a good crop, hopefully.
Says you sound skeptical.
Well, you never know until we hear them.
Happy Friday, lads. What better way to celebrate the end of the school year than head downtown and get your car broken into while screaming for the Battlehawks? We're jumping into a family truckster tonight and braving it at the TWA Dome. That's what it's called, the TWA Dome?
It used to be.
My only hope is they release the Hoosier early on in the game. This has to be something that one of our local sports franchises can get behind. Participants can register at your local Schnucks with a 12-pack of Budweiser. The Maximus Hoosier that survives the longest gets season tickets for the following season. How about that, Doug?
That'd be
That's
nice.
From my cousin Vinny.
They got
Release
plenty of tickets to give away right now. It would work. And I want it done twice. Early in the game, like second inning to get people there, and then in the 8th inning to get them to hang around.
So, I don't know. For me, I'm like, I guess I want to say if I knew everyone was going to be this mad, I wouldn't have gone. But then again, it was a chance to be in space with my 5 best friends. And when is that going to come around again? Are people really mad? Or are these like fan pagers who are just like jealous because I slayed it? Oh, because I slayed in space for the first time? I'm reading some of these fan page comments, and I actually think that they have never been to space. That's so apparent. It's socioeconomic. Like talking about golf. It's like, that's my privilege all of a sudden. It's a privilege to slay. I just love that. In that capsule were like 6 of my favorites in their field. Katy Perry, the favorite singer. Gayle King, favorite talk show host. Lauren Sanchez, favorite wife of Jeff Bezos. The best wife of Bezos. The other wife sucked. And then those other 3 ladies. I'm not in the photos. They're like all really tall. So I'm just in the back. I kind of got my hands on the small of each other's backs. Just kind of rested, like light fingers, like spider push-up fingers. I'm not getting a full palm in there. I'm sort of just like tickling just beneath their shoulder blades and just kind of like making them feel supported. Anyway, I'm thinking about heading to the lake this weekend and taking the old ween out for a spin.
No.
That's from Shrewsbury Butter Squirrel. Doug, what happened?
I don't know what happened with that. Shrewsbury Butter
Did
Squirrel.
one of the ladies who went to space for a few minutes issue a statement or something?
I don't think any of those ladies have ever been to the lake.
I don't know if they issued a statement. I don't know. I didn't pay much attention to that. They went up for, a few seconds and then came back down?
It's like half of Joey V's interview.
Reception is spotty at Lake Perry, so I'll get to the end of the story. We ended up making love that night, Doug and I. Thanks. That's from Ernie.
God bless it.
And his middle name is Nuck Els, and then his last name's Deep.
Ernie
Having clever.
Nuckels Duape is French.
Morning, boys. I was in and out of the show today, but I agree with what Doug said at 10:33 this morning. There are few joys in life quite like sitting on an already warm public toilet seat.
I never said that.
My personal fave is the pre-warm seat at Hooterville Regional. As I sit there scrolling message boards, I like to imagine the gent before me's story as he dropped mud in the restroom of an airport that still features a payphone bank and a semi-functional baggage claim. Is there a payphone bank at Lambert?
No, but you do kind of have to ask nicely for the baggage claim.
Oh, yeah. They'll yell at you there. They'll let you have it.
Was he running late for his flight? How many connections does he have en route to his final destination? Did he reward himself with some 9 a.m. Shake Shack before the big insurance convention that seems to always be held in Orlando? If every square inch of that seat is already warm and the streaks before you went east to west, you know the guy's final destination was Destin. And he removed his "hey dudes" while in the stall for max comfort. Good call, Doug. Nothing like Southwest Airlines, the Greyhound of the sky. That's from Al in Dadeville. DBA 0 days since yanking it to Gunner Stockton.
Oh,
Fight, pug.
Al in Dadeville.
We had 6, Chairman. Was one filtered here right at the end?
Yeah, time management purposes.
Just when I thought this show couldn't possibly get any dumber, you go and do something like this and totally redeem yourself. Where else can a bi-curious DoorDash driver from St. Chuck who enjoys being penetrated and who has previously gone out of his way to detail how his wife won't have sex with him anymore, and the best he can hope for is to engage in mutual in the dark so he doesn't have to look at him, can personally thank Jon Hamm for calling him a cuck without divorcing him and going on Girls Gone Wild. Speaking of award-winning actors who played high school sports in the ABC League and played sexually promiscuous characters in TV or film, it's about time we started breaking down the Key Party and the Ice Storm, which is basically the NBA draft lottery, except the team executives are hoping to have Cooper flag instead of draft him. So prior to the Key Party, Kevin Kline's character had been engaged in an ongoing affair with Sigourney Weaver's character, and he's expecting her to pick his keys out of the bowl, but instead she grabs the keys of the much younger Neil Conrad, who had arrived at the Key Party with his single mom. Now, is that a cuck situation? Weaver and Kline are both married to other people, and everyone presumably knew the stakes when they put their keys in the bowl. It's really too bad Plowsy is too busy discouraging people from attending his wedding, and Iggy is too busy chasing the false conspiracy theory that Chairman Kurt is Big Tank Del Vecchio to join us and break it all down. That's from Buck Swope, DBA, the Recess Lady's Breast.
It's a great question you raised.
That really is. That was well done. It's a shame it came at 10:59. But Doug, that's what we got for the Design, Air, Heating, and Cooling email today. What you got?
I'm going to vote for a fellow by the name of Alan Dadeville.
I'm going Shrewsbury Butter Squirrel.
Love the Butter Squirrel, but I think Alan Dadeville edged him out just by a hair.
Well, unfortunately, I say Shrewsbury Butter Squirrel, and the rules say that if it's 2-2 and I vote with that's what I would.
Damn it, Lucas.
Buck Swope's rules. Congratulations to Shrewsbury Butter Squirrel or Bucket Squirrel. Hell, I don't know. BK and Ferrario are up next. For Jackson Burkett, for Chairman Kurt, for Martin Kilcoyne, for my brother Kevin, for Douglas Elvin, Vaughn, I'm Tim McKernan. This has been TMA, presented to you by Brown and Crouppen on 101 ESPN and the TMA STL YouTube channel.